Hello and welcome to today's virtual open day. I'm Tom from the communications team. Thank you for joining me today. Now, in light of current COVID-19 situation and following government advice, we aren't sadly able to invite you to campus at the moment, but we've still got lots of great virtual tours coming up today. So let's take a look at what we've got lined up for you. So we're starting today at 10:30 with a tour of our Barnes accommodation with Alex, who's going to be joining me. Then at 11, we're taking a tour of Horwood with Sophie. And then at 11:30, we're taking a tour of Hollycross and the Oaks with Ayinda Mola. Then from there, we move on from 12 to 1 for a full campus tour. Now, the way this is going to work is that we'll start at the top of campus and work our way through. It'll take us an hour, so we'll see pretty much all of campus today, and that'll be guided by Alicia and Sophie. And again, through all of those, you can ask questions. So if you've got a question, just pop it in the comments, and I'll ask them to our ambassadors as we go. They're all current students, so they all know what it's like to study at Keele, and the ones who are doing the accommodation tours have all lived on campus and lived in the accommodation, so they know what it's like as well. And then finally, at the end, from 1 o'clock, we have a live Q&A with 4 of our current students. So any questions that we don't manage to get to in the previous tours, I'll make note of, and I'll ask them to our ambassadors there. So again, as we go along, pop your questions in the chat, and I will ask them as we go along. But first, I'll just tell you a bit more about the open day. So throughout the day, we've got staff and students from across the university ready to answer your questions directly using our live chat. So just head to keele.ac.uk/chat and you'll be able to select what level of study you're interested in, what course and what country you're from, and we'll try and match you up with an ambassador or a member of staff who is best suited to help you. Also, make sure you head to our self-guided virtual tour to take a look around the campus and our facilities. Head to virtualtour.keele.ac.uk and you can explore Keele virtually from there at your own leisure. You can see our academic expertise and Keele investments, the Keele campus and student life, our accommodation and facilities. Now, as I said, I will be joined throughout the day by our fantastic student ambassadors who are going to be guiding all of the tours. So I won't be the ones doing it. It'll be people who've actually lived and breathed the Keele experience, and they'll be here to answer your questions. So do drop them in the comments below. But first, I would like to hand over to our Vice-Chancellor, Professor Trevor McMillan, who's going to tell you a little bit more about Keele.
Hello, and a very warm welcome to Keele University. I'm Trevor McMillan, and I have the great privilege of being the Vice-Chancellor here. Thank you for taking the time to visit our site today. We do recognise how big a decision it is for you to choose your university, and this virtual open day has been designed to anticipate the questions that you might have about Keele and to give you the chance to investigate what we have to offer in a bit more detail. I want to just spend a few minutes giving you some of the background about the university before you get into that detail. Keele is built around academic excellence, and a fantastic student experience sits alongside world-class research in a combination that you won't see in all universities. We were formed in 1949 as a university with a very strong focus on innovative education and a strong student experience. And that was to sit in a university with a very clear social conscience that addresses research that is important to society. We are also a university that has a strong sense of community, as well as having an important role in the communities outside the university that we partner with, both locally and indeed around the world. You can imagine that when we were formed, it was important that the university rose to the challenge of needing to support students in very uncertain times, providing opportunities for students from all backgrounds and preparing them for a rapidly changing employment situation where the number and nature of the jobs available wasn't clear. Our predecessors did take on that challenge, and it is a legacy that we hold on to very strongly. And it's probably more relevant now than it has been at any point since that post-war period. We strive for a very student-centred approach to our education, and that has been reflected in strong performance in assessments of our teaching, including gold in the Teaching Excellence Framework, an unparalleled performance in the National Student Survey over nearly a decade, and graduate employment figures that show that the vast majority of our students get jobs that do require a degree-level education. Sadly, it's not possible for us to hold this open day on our campus at the moment. But when you do get here, you will find that at over 600 acres, we have the biggest university campus in the UK, with lots of green space, which I'm sure we've all learned to value even more in the last few months, giving us plenty of space to keep safe. Within the campus, we have done a lot in recent years to enhance our facilities. Recent examples include over 400 new bedrooms, a new home for the Keele Business School, an extension to our medical school. A new vet school is currently under construction, and we've invested heavily in new teaching laboratories for the sciences, including the David Attenborough laboratories, and it was a great pleasure to see Sir David on campus last year to open those facilities. While he was here, we talked a lot with Sir David about Keele's approach to the environment and sustainability, in which we have, for example, turned our campus into a living laboratory to evaluate new ways to both generate and to use energy. We've recently ranked in the top 25 in the world in a global world rankings table looking at the green agenda. Creating a sustainable future is one of the key global challenges that we are addressing here. That is alongside, for example, social inclusion and global health. You can see the relevance of all of this to the current specific challenge we are all facing at the moment. And Keele has responded in a variety of ways to address this. From looking at the biology of COVID-19 to the social implications of the pandemic, from the work our staff and students have done in the NHS to the production of hand sanitizer in our laboratories. We truly have had a big impact in the last few months. In addition, one of our companies based on our campus is likely to be manufacturing a COVID-19 vaccine right here at Keele. The pandemic has also brought out innovation that I mentioned earlier in order to continue to deliver our courses safely, but with social distancing in place. That will be using a blend of digital and in-person learning in line with our published 5-stage plan. The last few months have emphasised even more than usual to me how much effort we put into supporting our students when things get a bit tough. And I have to say that it is one of the things that I am proudest of about Keele. When students do have difficulties, whether with their health, with finances, relationships or other things, we have many ways in which we can help. We have excellent support teams in the university and the student union, as well as, for example, a medical practice and a pharmacy on campus. Ultimately, our ambition for you is that you stand out from the crowd and go on to be successful and make a real contribution to society. A degree at Keele won't just give you a certificate, but countless other skills needed to succeed and to stand out in your chosen field. Our degrees are designed to make sure that you have breadth as well as depth in your knowledge. And we help our students prepare for employment in all sorts of ways, including by providing volunteering opportunities or placements and internships, some of which are within our integrated Science and Innovation Park here on the Keele campus. It might seem like a long way off, but your graduation will come upon you all too quickly. And we will make sure that you're as prepared as you can be for whatever comes next for you. And the 100,000 alumni we have around the world will provide a network that you will always be part of as an integral part of the Keele community. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this. We hope that you will get to visit our beautiful campus in person soon. But in the meantime, you can hear what our students say about studying at Keele, chat to our academics, and find out everything you need to know at our virtual open day today. Thank you.
Hello and welcome back. So now I'm joined by Alex. Alex, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us what you study at Keele?
So I'm Alex and I do marketing with human resources. I specialise this year. I'm going into third year when we go back.
So we're also now live on Instagram as well, so hello Instagram. As we go through this tour, if you've got any comments, just let us know. Any questions for Alex, pop them in the chat and I can ask them as we go along. But Alex, we're going to start, so we can currently see the top of campus here. And as you see, this is the centre of campus, so we'll just head to Barnes. So Barnes, this is Union Square here, and we just head up past Chancellor's building, along the road, and then these buildings here are Barnes. So, Alex, have you stayed in Barnes? Did you?
Yeah, I lived in Old Barnes, which are the shared flats of four. With one bathroom, one kitchen between four.
So there is a variety, isn't there, at Barnes? And actually, one thing to point out is Google Earth. Barnes Y and Z are so new that they aren't currently on Google Earth yet. But that plot of green grass there is where the new Barnes are. So what's near Barnes, Alex? What have we got nearby?
So you've got near Barnes, you've got the sports centre, where the gym is, where most of the athletic union clubs are based out of. And the volleyball courts, tennis courts, everything like that. And then if you move a bit further over, you've got the Islamic Centre as well.
Oh yeah,
which is you've also got the Chancellor's Building is so close. I can't tell you how I know this, but you can leave 3 minutes before a lecture and get there in time. If you wake up late, it is possible. It's that close. And then the Sty as well is the common room around Barnes, where you've got vending machines, tea making facilities. It's just more of a chill out space as well. And you've also got the bar in Barnes as well, which is more of a pub type setting than some of the other bars.
Right.
Which on the map is sort of in the middle of. It's just where that square is in the middle of it all. It's just the second square, the smaller one.
So I'll tell you what we'll do is we'll jump outside Barnes. So we'll be heading just here, and we'll head there, and we can continue. So we can take a look at the exterior of Barnes. So let's do that now. So do you want to let us know what we're seeing? Talk us through what we're walking past and where we are.
Yes, so this is Barnes, and as you can see, there's the Chancellor's Building. You can just see the car park in the corner, and there's the sports centre that I was on about. And the fields you can see are where most of the clubs play, but in the summer it's full of people studying on the grass, which is really nice as well. This is the Islamic Centre. I've never personally been inside, but everyone I've spoke to that's come out of there has been really friendly. And there is a little car park, which I don't know if we can see, but there is a little car park just outside as well.
Smashing. So I'm just checking if we've got any questions so far. So do pop them in the chat and I can ask them as we go along.
So there's the little car park that he's just walking over now.
On the left-hand side here, is it?
A general car park, yeah.
Yeah.
Which you don't have to live at Barnes to park there. It's just a general car park. So these are the old Barnes flats. So some of these are shared flats of four, and then some of them I think are more traditional halls. Like I said, I stayed in the flats of four. These ones on the left here. They're really nice, but so I think we're just going to walk down here now. Something I want to mention is the locks on them. To get into the building, you have to scan your Keele card, and you can only get into that building. And then to get into the flats, you can only scan. You've got a key or a Keele card, depending on what block you're in, which can only access your flat, and then also your room has a further key as well. So these are the shared flats of four, and then you can cut through here, or you can take the path, but this is the quick route. And then ahead you can see the newer Barnes. So these are the superior ensuite, which I think is W, X, Y, and Z, but the two you can see are Y and Z. So there's the Sty on the left, the common room, which I think we're going to go up to. Inside, vending machines, coffee maker facilities, sofa, think there's also a TV and some games consoles in there. It's just a generally fun space. I don't use it too much because my flat had a little sofa in it, but it's a really good space if you don't. Right, so there's the bar. Like I said, it's more of a pub type setting, so it's a bit more casual than some of the other SU bars.
So there's quite a variety, isn't there, of bars on campus, aren't there? So you've got the big bars inside the SU, but then you've also got, if you want to quiet it, is that kind of a place to have maybe a drink and a chat with a friend?
Yeah, and they do like pub quizzes and karaoke and stuff, but most nights are just kind of chill pub type nights, so there's not really an event going on. It's more just somewhere to chill out.
And you were saying about
there's also a pool table. There's also a pool table in there.
Oh, amazing! And you were also just saying about the laundrette as well.
Yeah, so just behind the bar, kind of in between the sty and the bar, there's a laundrette for you can only access with a Barnes Keele card, so it means it doesn't get too busy. There's also on the app you can see what washing machines are free, which is really useful as well. Yeah, so these are new barns in front, and the bungalow on the left, which is just, there's only one bungalow, but so just in front you've got new barns.
And I think these are just 2 years old, are they? I think now. So they haven't.
Yeah, they were the year before I came, so that's 2018.
Yeah, so just about 2 years then. Yeah, so really brand new accommodation, and Barnes is the largest on campus, isn't it, in terms of.
Yeah, and it's in such a good position as well.
Yeah, so it's at the top end of campus, but also connects to the centre as well, doesn't it? So if you need to get to the business school or David Wetherall, you're right next to both of those, aren't you?
Yeah.
Smashing.
Are we going inside?
Yeah, let's take a look inside. Let's go inside. So we're heading to Barnes. Why we're currently going into flat number 12.
So you can see there that's got a Keele card scanner to get in, which obviously is unlocked at the moment, but normally you'd have to live in that flat to be able to get in or be let in. So some of these flats have 6 bedrooms, some of them have 8, but the kitchen does kind of compromise if there's more people, and they're all en suites, so you don't have to share a bathroom.
So someone said, are they all carpet floors? I think so.
Apart from in the kitchen and obviously the bathroom, but yes, they are. All the bedrooms I think they're like a carpet tile, so they're not very plush, but it is carpeted.
Someone's asked if they can get a pub loyalty card.
I don't know about
any
that.
Keele card?
I know if you pay on your Keele card, you do get a discount. You get the Keele card discount, which is about 30%, but I'm not entirely sure. So here's the bedroom. I'll shut up for a second so you can have a look. So it's a 3/4 bed in the new Barnes in Superior ensuite.
And so do you need to bring your own bed in for these?
I think you can say in advance that you need the bedding. I think that's what I did. You can, when you apply for accommodation, after that, when you log into the accommodation portal, you can say whether you need bedding and things like that. I think there's also an option to have, you can buy kind of utensils from there as well to have them ready stocked. But most people do bring their own. So you've got room under the bed as well for storage.
Right, I think we take a look at that bit later on, don't we?
That's really useful. You've also got a light switch next to the bed, which you can just see next to the desk, which is really useful as well. So there's 2 light switches for the main light.
So you don't have to get up once you've got all tucked in and cosy.
And then there's also a light underneath the desk for studying as well. You can just see it pop up there.
So someone's asked, can they charge their Segway anywhere on campus? I'm guessing they could bring it into their accommodation if they could get it through.
If you can get it through the door.
Store it in your room.
So yeah, there's a lot of plugs on the desk as well. So I've got a big PC, so I was a bit worried about, do I need an extension lead or something like that? But there are a lot of plugs and there's plenty. And they're really in good places as well. The wardrobe, there's room on top of the wardrobe as well to keep. I kept a suitcase up there.
So,
Boxes.
good question from Molly is: are there any wheelchair accessible bedrooms?
In Y and Z, they're on the ground floor, and they're a little bit different. Some accommodations don't, but these ones that we're looking at now do. They're on in Y and Z. So WX don't, but Y and Z do.
Someone's asked, is this live going to be available after this? Yes, it will be. You'll be able to watch it back. Louise has put, is this a typical room? So just remind us what room we're looking at the moment, Alex.
So that's the room under the bed I was on about. So this is the superior ensuite. This is block Y. So all the superior ensuites will look like this, but Y and Z are the brand new builds. They're only a few years old. These are the top band accommodations. So these are the superior ones. Here's the ensuite. There's a few other ensuites on campus. This isn't the only ensuite, but I think they've got other tours later this afternoon, if I'm right.
Yeah, so again, we're moving on to Horwood next and then Hollycross and the Oaks after that. Someone's asked, what is the Wi-Fi like?
The Wi-Fi was shockingly good. I really didn't expect it to be as fast as it was.
So you're actually on the university you're on the university network, so it's
great
super
because
fast.
You connect to it on your phone as well. So I never used data because you were living on campus. So even between buildings and in like buildings, you had Wi-Fi everywhere on campus. So you never use data. It's really, really fast. But then you got to think everybody's watching Netflix and downloading things, so it's got to be fast. But it does cope really well.
So what's it like if you've got devices like games consoles and computers? Is it easy to get those set up on the network?
Yeah, you just set it up like you do with any normal Wi-Fi, except as well as a password, you do have a login. So you use your Keele email address and your Keele password to log into the Wi-Fi. And that's on any device, so on your phone, laptop, computer, and then also games consoles. When we go into the kitchen, you'll see there is a TV in the kitchen, which a lot of people will set up a games console there.
So right, saying it's just a screen, isn't it? It's not connected to anything.
Yeah,
at the moment,
it's not got a license. It's not got a TV license either.
Right, so you can choose to get a TV license and put your own Apple TV, Fire Stick, anything in there.
I've seen a lot of people connect laptops to it and put Netflix on there as well. So this is the kitchen. You can just see the medical building in the background, which is why this, because I think this also has, so it's normally 37-week contract, but there are longer contracts as well. So it's great for, I think nursing has a longer one, midwifery,
right,
veterinary school, they need longer accommodation periods, or it's recommended. So the kitchen, some people choose to share all the cupboards and all the fridge space, and some will do it separately. In my experience, I'm not sure how it is in every other flat, but in the shared flats of 4, we had one shelf in the fridge, one shelf in the freezer each, or you can all go in together, and it can be a bit easier that way, because you don't have to worry about, that's my shelf, that's your shelf. There's plenty of cupboard space in these kitchens, as you can see.
What's it like moving away from home and living with new people that you've never met before?
I thought it was really exciting. The nervousness didn't hit until I left the house. I was really excited, and then I left the house. I was like, "Oh, I'm not coming back." But what helped me is I found my flatmates on the Facebook group beforehand.
Right.
So
okay.
You weren't moving in with complete strangers. There was only 4 of us, but I found 2 of them. So out of the 4 of us, only 3 of us, and we knew each other before we moved in. So it was almost like meeting a friend. It was really, really nice to do it that way. Yeah. So there's 2 of everything: 2 sinks, 2 cookers, 2 lots of hobs, 2 fridges, 2 freezers. Coffee pot not included, but the kettle is.
So yeah, what do you get included? Do you get a microwave and kettle?
A kettle.
So you don't need to don't worry about bringing a kettle. Don't have people, 6 of you turning up with a kettle, because you'll have.
Yeah, that's the other thing. If you meet people, you don't end up with 6 sets of saucepans, because it's really not needed. I can say from experience that those sofas are quite comfortable. I have slept on a sofa like that before. They're very comfortable. There's the TV. Look. The whiteboard is mainly used for passive aggressive notes about washing up, but I have heard they can be useful for important things or scribbles and drawings. So in the first semester, your RA, your resident advisor, will come round with a flatmate agreement which you can choose to fill in and have everybody sign. So if there's any arguments in the future, it can be resolved easier. You don't have to do it. We chose not to because we already knew each other anyway. But when it's people you don't know to begin with, it can be helpful. So there's the medical building on the left, and on the far side is the business building just past the trees. So you can see just how close it is. And there is an exit on this side of the building as well.
And do you often visit other people? Do you often go and visit other blocks in your accommodation and sort of socialise with people outside of your corridor?
There was a lot of cups of tea in the corridor in the first semester.
That's nice.
Which is really fun as well. So everyone was bringing biscuits out, cups of tea, and everyone sat on the floor. And it was really nice, a good way to socialise. And that's both in the flat corridor and in just outside of the flats.
Someone's asked jobs on campus. If you want to get a job on campus, is it better to get one off campus or on campus? What's kind of available job wise?
So the Keele has a job shop. I think it's a job shop. I think it's part of the SU, as opposed to Keele. But you can go and there's jobs at the bars, the shops. There's a job on at the cost cutter. There's jobs all over campus.
And also what you're doing now.
It's a job as well. I was going to say this is what I'm doing now. There's something for everybody. Definitely. If you do get a job off campus, there is the safety bus as well, which if you know in advance, it's security, they'll make sure you get home safely. And have a quick look around the room.
So we'll head back to the room. We can take any questions. So now is your chance to ask any questions. So we've got someone said, do all kitchens have a screen or just these new ones? Now, there's the TV in the kitchen. I think that.
I'm not sure because ours didn't, but the one I was in, the shared flats of 4 didn't. But that was a middle band. I'm not sure if some of the other en-suites do. I really don't know. But all of these ones do.
So both Barnes, Y and Z have a screen in the kitchen.
We just used to set up the laptop if we were watching something and put it in the kitchen because there's a little table in the kitchen. But all of Y and Z do, but I'm not sure about what other bands of accommodation have a TV screen.
Someone else has asked, how many students share the kitchen?
So in these ones, it depends. It's between 6 and 8, depending on what flat you're in. But they will give a bit more freezer space if it's 8. They do account for that. And then the shared flats of 4 is obviously 4. But these ones there's a lot of cupboard room in here, a lot of storage. And as you can see in the bedrooms, there's also a lot of storage in the wardrobe, above the wardrobe, under the bed.
Someone else has put, is the 37 weeks for the whole year, or does it include off-term time?
It includes Christmas and Easter. It doesn't include summer, so it goes from September to June or July. I can't remember exactly, but after exams. So
right.
It includes exam season, and then it's just a few weeks after that the contract ends. But most people move out a bit earlier because there's no need to be there once exams are finished.
Perfect. So people with a car. So Fiona said, "Can you take a car?"
I did because I'm a registered carer, so I did have a car on campus, so I could get back if I was needed. There are a list of criteria, and you have to meet at least one of those criteria to be able to have a car on campus. So you apply for a parking permit, and then if you're accepted, then you pay. It's about 100 and something. It's not very much. It's 100 and not much over 100, but a little bit. 110 around there. And then you can get a parking permit. Advice, I would just say apply. Just apply. And if you get it, you get it. And if you don't, you don't. Most first years don't have a car on campus. I didn't in first year because you don't need to go anywhere. Everything you need is on campus. So it's mainly reserved for commuter students, students with responsibilities, students that have work placements, things like that.
Someone's asked how much does it cost. It varies, so I recommend popping on the website for that. So Keele.
Oh, I did have that.
Oh, go on then. I'll let it go for it. Go for it.
So for the 2020-21 year,
Yep.
6,311 for these ones, which works out roughly about 170 a week.
Smashing.
Because these are the top band. These are the superior ensuite.
Someone's asked, so in the accessible rooms, are they just on their own, or are they in a shared block with other people?
I think they're still shared flats. I can't say exactly, but I think they're still shared.
I've been in one of them, yeah. So you're in you're in the one I saw in Barnes Y. You're in the same corridor. It's just that your room is an accessible room, and the kitchens are accessible kitchens and things like that. But you still share with other people, so you still get the same experience as everyone else.
Y and Z have lifts as well,
Yeah.
which is lucky because I don't think, at least the accommodation I've seen, and none of the others have lifts. It's all stairs.
I think X has got a lift.
There's a lift.
I think some of the shared flats and houses don't.
I had to go up 4 flights of stairs every time I wanted to go to my room. It did. Yeah, but these do have lifts as well.
Smashing. We'll just take a couple more questions as we go through. So what's in the kitchen? So they come. What utensils do they come with, and what do you need to bring for the kitchen?
So they don't come with any pots, pans, plates, anything like that. All that you have to bring, which I recommend trying to find who you're living with, because again, you don't need 20 pots and pans. There's a kettle, and there's a microwave. I think it depends on the toaster. We didn't have a toaster, but I have heard of some having a toaster. I think it depends if someone left it before. But we personally didn't have a toaster, and I know that they're not listed as included. So, but I'd wait until you got there and then say, "Oh, we haven't got a toaster."
There is on our website. There's a page that tells you all about what you need to bring and what you don't need to bring. So if you just Google Keele accommodation and then what to bring, that page should come up for you. And there's a big list of what's included in your rooms and what we recommend you bring in, or like you say, Alex, waiting till you arrive and then kind of getting together and getting that stuff between you.
Don't want everybody bringing a toaster, and then you have toasters.
I mean, it would speed things up in the morning, but yeah, it's
a toast at a time.
It's probably slightly unnecessary. So someone's asked, how do these compare to other rooms on campus? So I know you shared you stayed in the shared flats and houses, haven't you? So how does the rest of the accommodation share? What's different to the superior rooms?
But the differences are, so the bed is a single bed. I think there's a few other accommodations that have a 3/4 bed like this, but a lot of them do have just a single. The wardrobes are very similar. The desk is very similar. The kitchen is probably where the most differences are, other than the bed. And also, not all of them have en suites. But in the kitchen, it's sometimes a bit smaller. One oven instead of 2, one sink instead of 2. And not all of them have a dining table like the one that was in the kitchen here. Some of them have more of a coffee table in the kitchen, and that's probably the biggest difference. But what we did is we bought a collapsible table, which we didn't have up all the time. We kept it behind the sofa, but it was useful to pull out and have if you had people round. That was useful as well. But I'd say mainly the kitchen. The bedrooms, at least in the ones I've seen, it's mainly the bed being a bit smaller, but there's not a huge amount of difference. It looks a bit different, but in terms of what's included and the storage, it's not that different.
Brilliant. Well, Alex, thank you very much for that. We'll leave it there, and we'll pop onto our next tour in just over 5 minutes. So we're moving on to Horwood next. So do stick around. But Alex, thank you very much, and I'll see you soon.
Yeah. Oh. Is it a bit blurry? Oh. I haven't actually clicked anything to do that, so I'm not sure why it's done that.
Hello and welcome back. Welcome back. I'm now joined by Sophie. So Sophie, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us what you studied at Keele?
Yeah, so my name's Sophie, and I'm currently in my third year at Keele studying mental health nursing.
Perfect. So we're going to take a look at Horwood now, aren't we?
Yep.
So we're currently again back over Union Square. Now, as we go through, do ask any questions in the comments, and I'll ask those to Sophie. So, Sophie, have you lived in Horwood?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
And Someone just asked me to mention that the accommodation team are available on Unibuddy as well until 2 p.m. today. If we don't get through your question on stream, so if we come to the end of the tour and your question hasn't been answered, pop to our Unibuddy page through the virtual tour, and you can ask our accommodation team directly. So Sophie, we're currently over Union Square. So Horwood, I would argue Horwood is probably the closest to the centre of campus. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think I would too. Yeah.
So it's literally just here. That's it there. So you can literally roll out of bed and get onto the centre of campus.
Yeah, literally.
So what else have we got nearby Horwood as well, apart from it being right next to the Students' Union and Union Square?
So it is quite close to Keele Hall as well.
Which is just here.
Yeah, I'd argue that was only like a 2-minute walk or something. And then you've got the KPA, which is the Keele Postgraduate Association, which is the association on top, and then a pub below that as well.
And what's in the KPA? So you can go for a drink?
So you can go for a drink. And when I was living at Horwood, they also served food as well when I was there. And they also sometimes had things like quizzes on. So that was a nice place to go.
Perfect. Shall we pop to the outside then? So we're actually going to land just outside the KPA. We'll take a look outside. So we'll go for a walk. We'll go for a walk around Horwood. Just tell us what we're seeing and what was kind of nearby and things that happened. So we're currently going past a big patch of greenery here.
Greenery outside blocks A, and as you can see there, D2E.
So a nice place there to sit in the summer and socialise with people. Do barbecues happen outside halls?
I think, yes, they do. Just through blocks there, the D&E that you saw, you can sort of go through and there is sort of like barbecue stands. So you can have barbecues on there. I think they asked not to do them on the grass, but there is designated barbecue areas on campus.
And in terms of facilities at Horwood, what have we got? A lot other than obviously being near the KPA in the centre of campus, what else have you got at Horwood?
So over on the right now is the Horwood Laundrette, which you can access with your Keele card, and only those who are in the accommodation at Horwood can access it. So it doesn't get too busy.
Oh, I didn't know that. So the laundrettes are specifically for the people in your halls, so you won't have...
Yeah.
It's just for the people there, and you won't have too many people using them.
Yeah.
And so just to explain, how does the laundrette work? How does it work in terms of washing your clothes?
So there's a number of washers and there's a number of dryers, and as you can see there, it's open 24 hours a day. You access it by your Keele card, and then when I was there, how the washers and dryers ran was with something called a circuit card, which you could purchase from various points around the campus. It was just a card that you preload with money, and then there's like a slot in the washing machine and the dryer that you obviously put in to put your washing on, and then again in the dryer.
So we're just heading down the side of one of the blocks now, and what's this straight ahead of us?
Up to Keele Health Practice, which is a GP surgery, and students at Keele can register here, and it is also used by members of the community as well that live around Keele.
So when you arrive, swap your GP to the on-campus health centre and you'll be good to go, really?
Yeah.
Brilliant. So what kind of rooms have we got at Horwood then? I know we're going to take a look at one that is shared bathroom and kitchen. Is there any? Are they all kind of like that at Horwood? What have we got on offer here?
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, they're all shared bathroom and kitchen. When I stayed in Horwood, I stayed in Horwood in 2 different accommodations. And I shared with around 8 people, and we had a shared kitchen, shared bathroom. Where I was, there was about 2 sinks, a shower and 2 toilets, and then the shared kitchen had 2 ovens and 2 fridge freezers.
Shall we jump inside and take a look at the rooms and what we've got? So again, tell us what we're seeing and give us a tour around Horwood.
So this is the entrance to one of the blocks. if we go through the doors.
So how do you get into your block? Is it a key? Is it a Keele card? Is it a mixture of both?
When some of them, I think, do have they might have a Keele card, but I'm not too sure about that. I think it might just be a key,
Cool.
and everyone in the block gets a key, which is what we had. So yeah, this is one of the rooms, and it's a single bed. And in the rooms we have, as you can see, a wash basin, a sink. You've got a wardrobe there.
And so bed sizes, are they all single beds in Horwood?
Yeah, single beds.
With some space underneath, I can see, so you can throw some suitcases under
Yeah,
there or anything
yeah,
like that.
there's a lot of space underneath. And then you've got your drawers next to your bed. And a desk as well.
And in terms of making the room your own, I know there's some bits in here already, but any top tips on making the room homely? Anything that you found helped you when you moved away from home?
I think most rooms, they do come with a notice board. So I use that for things like posters, and put them on the notice board to make it more homely. And as you can see, like, you've got your shelves there. So like photo frames, and on the desk I had things like, I brought my own lamp to make it more homely.
So someone's asked how the Facebook groups work. So Alex was mentioning that she kind of met some of her flatmates through one of the Facebook groups. Do you want to, what's the best one to join? Is it the Student Union one, the official, the Life at Keele one?
Yeah, I think so. Student Life at Keele. And I think sometimes there is groups, I'm not sure if they're officially made by Keele. I think it might be like unofficial Facebook groups that are sometimes like Keele applicants, and then the year that they put like you're starting at. So Keele applicants 2021. And there might be people on there, but I think the best ones to join are like Student Life at Keele and the Students' Union.
And I guess if you post, if you join that group, the Life at Keele one, and the post, I'm staying in Horwood A. Who else is there? And hopefully someone will comment, and you can meet people that way.
Yeah, hopefully the people will then say which is what I did, and that's how I found out who, like, the people that I was living with, so you could have a chat with them first, so it was less awkward when you got there.
Brilliant. So I think we're going to head through into the kitchen. Head through to the bathroom now, I think.
Bathroom, yeah. Yeah, so it's shared. So in Horwood, they are shared bathrooms.
Now, I know people might be sort of put off by that or worried about sharing a bathroom with people they've never met. What is it like? You know, how did you find it?
Well, I think when I moved into Horwood, I think that's one thing that I was worried about. Because I am one for being clean, so I was quite worried about that. But because the bathrooms are quite they are quite simple, so I think a lot of your things like your towels and like your shower gels and things, you can obviously just leave them by your room in your sink, but obviously if you're happy to leave them in the shower, then obviously you can leave them in there. I think it's just a case of everyone hopefully being mature and just having a discussion to say respect other people's things, and clean up after yourselves. That's what we did in ours. We just we didn't have like a set like rota, like if anyone was going to clean or anything. We just all did it as we went along. If anything was a mess and it was ours, then we'd just clean it up. So I think if you just have the discussion with each other, then yeah, it'll be fine. But it wasn't actually as bad as I thought it was going to be. It was actually okay.
Amazing. So yes, we're in the kitchen now. Do you want to tell us a bit about the kitchens in Horwood?
Yeah, so shared kitchens, and as you can see there, they're either fridges or freezers, and there's two of them. So there's two of both, so two fridges and two freezers. You've got lots of cupboard space. So again, with your flatmates, you'll just have a discussion amongst yourselves to who gets what and make it fair. So yeah, in this block there actually is more fridges and freezers in the one that I was in, so that's actually a good thing. And then, as you can see, as the start when we came to the kitchen, there was the seating area as well. So it'd either be like benches or table and chairs.
So were the fridges similar in your blocks, where they were the sort of single fridges and then single freezers, and how did you kind of split that out between you all?
Again, it was just sort of, we divided it up between ourselves, so depending on how many there was. So in the one that I was in, we actually had 2 fridge freezers. So there was 4 shelves in the fridge and 4 in the other fridge, and there was 8 of us all together, which meant that we all got 1 each. And then this one has more fridge freezers as well, so it's just a case of dividing it out between yourselves. And the kitchens also have microwave and kettle as well.
So again, yeah. So what do you need to bring, and what don't you need to bring in these kitchens? What do you get? A kettle and a microwave. So don't bother bringing those.
Obviously, you've got like your ovens and things, and then your little appliances. You've got obviously your microwave and your kettle. On the list for accommodation, they don't have toasters on the list. So you do obviously have to bring your own, but I recommend waiting until you get there, because if however many of you turn up with a toaster, then there's just going to be too many.
And I guess you could all chip in, couldn't you, and buy a cheap toaster?
Yeah, you can all chip in. So I'd recommend waiting. And then I wouldn't go too over the top with pots and pans. Just, one frying pan, a pan, because if you bring too many, there's just not going to be enough room. And realistically, it's only yourself that's going to be using them. So I think it's just best to stick to like the minimal to begin with, and then if you need more when you're there, you can obviously access that. And I think sometimes at Keele they do when I've been there, they have done stalls before of like utensils, so cutlery and things like that.
And in terms of your room, I'm guessing there might be a temptation to kind of try and bring everything from your home, because you want to feel like you've got all of your stuff with you. Is that wise, or is it kind of, should you see your university accommodation as where you live and study, and less kind of a permanent residence, to say, for lack of a better word?
Yeah, I think so. Because obviously the rooms, they are quite roomy, and you can get a lot in them, but you don't want them to be too overcrowded. So I'd say just to bring obviously what you need, and what you need to study, and just like the essential things, because again, Keele is close to like town centre, so if there is anything you're missing that can just be bought, you can go and get that. And then I wouldn't bring too much, because then I feel like it would be quite overcrowded. So I would just say to try and keep to the minimal, which is hard. And
so when was it in your first year that you lived in Horwood, was it?
Yeah, first year.
And kind of what then happens? Do you normally stay in on-campus accommodation, or where do you kind of live in second year and beyond that?
I think you can stay on campus. I think there was categories for people that can stay on campus, but usually what happens is it can either be with people on your course or people that you've lived with, like in your first year. You then find a house together to live in second year, and some as well, like third year as well. And there's places like student support that can help with finding places to live. Like finding like certified landlords and things like that. So it's usually is people that you've lived with, or like I said, people on your course that you've made friends with, and then for second year, third year, you all find a place to live together.
Amazing. So someone's asked, what kind of room is this? So what do you know the room type for Horwood?
I think it might be one of the lower bands.
But these are standard. So Horwood kind of has the same kind of room, is it?
Yeah, so in Horwood, they are standard, and there is some that don't have a sink in them, which is where I was in first year. But these rooms that are live now are the ones with the sink, but they are your standard ones, yeah.
Someone else has asked, do you know how much they cost? Have you got the prices? Or shall I pump people to the website?
Yeah, maybe check the website.
So on the website, we've got... so do you know about the tenants? Do you know about the terms that you can stay in, the week terms? Are they the same as... What term did you have in your accommodation?
I think, well, I had the longest one because nursing is a longer course, so I had the 52-week one, which was like all year round. But I think there was I think there might be two more. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think one of them was around like 30-something weeks, maybe.
So just looking on our website here, so these are the Classic Plus, which are blocks A to N and P and S. And then block T to Z. Now T to Z are very interesting. Have you seen these ones at the top of Horwood?
Yeah.
The shared flats and houses that I like to think of that something out of The Hobbit, but which are so then you walk in them and they're like it's like walking into the telephone box.
Those are the ones that I was in first year.
Oh, amazing! The ones with the very sloped roofs.
Yeah, so we used to call them the Z sheds.
That's it. Yeah. So a couple of different types, but the facilities in them are the same, really, aren't they? They're shared bathrooms, shared kitchens, and you get your own room. So just check if we've got any more questions coming through. So do you know about cleaning of the rooms, or cleaning of the kitchens and the communal areas? Do you know how frequently that's done?
So I can't remember off the top of my head how frequently it is. It might be once or twice a week. But when you move in, you'll get that information, probably like a leaflet under your door. So you do have they have cleaners who do like the kitchen, communal areas, and they also hoover floor in the bedrooms as well. But again, you can if you want to. You don't have to have that done, but obviously you can do. And yeah, like I said, you'll probably get when you move in, you probably get a leaflet telling you how frequently that is. But then in between those, in between like the cleaners doing that, obviously you will need to yourself maybe just clean like the kitchen sometimes in the bathroom.
So what happens with bins in the kitchen? Do you have to worry about those, or are they done by the cleaners?
They are, from what I can remember, they are done by the cleaners. So I think when we're in the kitchen, those ones that had a bin and then a recycle bin. So obviously make use of those, and then I think I don't actually think that's done by the cleaners. I think there might be people that come in to do the bins. I can't remember off the top of my head.
And Horwood is Horwood has a laundrette and the health centre, but it doesn't have its own bar. Can you go and use things like Lindsay Bar and the Barnes Bar?
Yes, you can go and use like Barnes Bar, Lindsay Bar as well. You can go make use of those, and then obviously it is close to the KPA as well.
Smashing. Well, Sophie, thank you very much for showing us around Horwood. Like I say, if you've got any questions, our accommodation team are online today via Unibuddy. They're online until 2 p.m. If you want to ask them any questions about any of our accommodation at Keele, not just Horwood. So pop to our virtual open day page and you can ask them your questions there. But thank you, Sophie. Thank you very much. Yep. And I'll see you again soon. Yep. Hello and welcome back. Thank you for joining us. So I'm now joined by another one of our lovely students, Ian Demola. Do you want to introduce yourself and tell us what you studied at Keele?
Hi everyone, I'm Ian Damola and I studied law at Keele.
Perfect. So we're just a few more things to say. So anyone who's registered for the open day, you'll get a link to the virtual tour by email. So if you haven't registered, you can do so at keele.ac.uk/open days. It's not too late if you want to explore the campus and chat to our staff and students and have a look at our virtual tour. Head to keele.ac.uk/open days. And again, just to mention that we've only got half an hour for this. So if we don't get around to answering your question during the tour, our accommodation team are here till 2 p.m. on our UniBuddy. So if you, again, go to keele.ac.uk/chat, you'll find our UniBuddy there, and you can chat to the accommodation team and ask them any questions that you've got. So we'll start with our top-down view of campus as we've done on the others, and kind of show you where Hollycross and the Oaks is in relation. So we go, and the quickest way is to go up Central Drive, past the library, past the new CSL and David Attenborough laboratories. Then we get to the crime scene house, which is just here, and then we go along the road here, and you can see there the buildings just there. So they are the furthest accommodation away from the centre of campus, aren't they, in Demola? But
yeah, they are.
That's still not far. How long would you say it takes to walk from these to the centre of campus?
I think about 10 minutes.
So not far at all, really, is it? I mean,
yeah, not too far.
For the furthest accommodation, that is not too far at all.
Yeah.
So what have we got at Hollycross? What facilities have we got on site?
So all the rooms at Hollycross and the Oaks, they're all en suite. So each room has its own bathroom, and you share a kitchen. So kitchens are shared between 8 people. Yeah, and then you've got a laundrette as well in the common room.
So some people get confused between Hollycross and the Oaks. Are they two different separate accommodations? Are they one thing? Some people do get confused when we call it, because I sometimes keep referring to it as Hollycross. They are kind of one accommodation, aren't they?
Yeah, they're like right beside each other. So
which one's So this one's Hollycross, isn't it, here?
Yeah, that's Hollycross. Yeah, and that's the Oaks.
So same accommodation, just two names for the different buildings, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll pop just outside the main entrance, and we can have a look at that now. So as you were saying, this one's got quite a lot of car parking, I see. So if you've got a car, this is quite a good accommodation for you, is it?
Yeah, it is. But then you need a parking permit to park on campus, and there's some eligibility criteria for that.
So
yes.
So obviously this accommodation doesn't have a bar, or it has a common room, do you say? So what's the common room like, and what can you do in there?
The common room is really spacious when you go inside, and then you can just go there to chill with your friends. If you don't want to make noise in your flat, you can just take your friends there, and you can go there to study as well. So yeah, it's a really good place to just relax and study as well.
So I think, are we coming up to the? Is this the main laundrette here that we're coming up to?
Yeah, that's the laundrette in Hollycross and the Oaks. We've got washers and dryers there. So you just buy a circuit card, and then you can top it up whenever you need to do your washing up. Yeah.
And when you moved to university, was that the first time you'd ever done laundry? Is there any truth in that, or are people more skilled than that?
I mean, there are some people that, they're probably their mom used to do their laundry when they were back home, but I used to do my laundry at home, so it wasn't that big of a deal.
How did you find it then? So moving away from home, moving to an accommodation block with people you've never met before, was it exciting, scary? How did you find it?
I think it was a little bit of both, because I'm from Nigeria, so I came all the way from Nigeria on my own to Keele. So it was both exciting and nerve-wracking as well. But once I got into Keele, I met, lovely student ambassadors and people that just made me feel at home. And I made a lot of friends on the first day as well. So
I guess
it was really...
An added interesting aspect there. So not only moving away from home, but moving country as well. So coming, how was, in terms of just the added sort of bits of that of bringing what you need to as well. How does that work for someone who's traveling to move to the UK and move to Keele? What top tips have you got for what you need to bring and how to get your stuff over here? Oh, can you still hear me? Can you hear me okay?
I can't really hear you.
Can you hear me now? We'll just get this sorted. But as you can see, so we're outside Holycross now. You can see...
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Amazing. Don't know what happened there. So I was asking you, so in terms of that added extra aspect of coming from Nigeria to the UK, what tips have you got for people moving abroad and moving into their accommodation in terms of getting their belongings here and all that? How does it work?
Well, personally, I didn't really take that much stuff from Nigeria because, the weather's different over there. So I just took a few things. And then when I got to the UK, I was able to buy my bedding and my kitchen utensils and all of that. So I didn't have that much stuff coming from Nigeria. So I think that's really a good thing to do. Like, don't bother buying your stuff from home and then bringing it to the UK. You're much better off just buying your stuff here in the UK when you come.
Perfect. So what we'll do is we'll head inside. We'll take a look at one of the rooms. So again, just tell us what we're seeing, show us around, and show us through. I think we're in the Oaks at the moment, so we're in one of the Oaks rooms. So can you see that okay, Yendamola? We're having a little bit of trouble again, so whilst we get it fixed, I'll keep telling you what we're seeing. So we're in one of the Oaks rooms at the moment, but all the rooms between the accommodations are the same. So they come as standard with a wardrobe, a bed, a bedside table, and a desk. Can you hear okay? Are you back again?
Yeah.
Perfect. I'll let you take over. So again, tell us about the rooms and what we've got inside them.
So we've got a 3/4 bed, as you can see right there, and you've got a wardrobe as well where you can store your clothes, and there's a table, right there as well with drawers where you can store some more of your stuff. Yeah.
Someone's asked, so you said obviously when you arrive in the UK to buy your stuff when you're here. Someone's asked, is it more expensive if we buy from the UK instead of your hometown? I'm guessing that kind of differs as to where you're from.
Yeah, I think it differs as to where you're from, but I don't think it's that big of a price difference, to be honest, because I think you would save yourself the stress of having to carry everything from home. So it's better that way.
So someone's asked, will the video be available to view after? Yes, you'll be able to watch these back after we've done them. So do you get quite a bit of storage in these rooms then?
Yeah, you get quite a bit of storage. I think there's some storage space under the bed as well where you can put your suitcases and stuff. Yeah, and then you can put stuff on top of the wardrobe as well. I remember I used to do that.
And how did you make your room feel homely? What tips have you got for students to kind of put their stamp on their rooms?
I'd say, you can get posters. I think the Keele does like a poster sale at the beginning of the semester in front of the SU, so you can get posters to make it feel a bit more homely. And I got some pictures as well of my family and friends from back home that I could just stick up on my wall and just make it feel more at home.
So you can see me there. A big mirror.
Yes.
The big mirror in these rooms. There was no hiding from that, I can tell you.
Yeah. There's a lot of mirrors. I think there's one in the wardrobe, and then there's one small mirror on the wall in the room, and then there's that big mirror And yeah, the bathroom is really spacious. I noticed that when I moved in.
I think these are. I think these. I'm right in saying these are the biggest en suites, aren't they? You really
Yeah,
do get a lot of
yeah,
space in these.
yeah. And there's a lot of counter space as well to put your stuff. And there's a shelf underneath as well.
So someone said, "Is this the ensuite room?" Yes, and all the rooms in Holycross and the Oaks are like this, aren't they?
Yes, yes, they're all ensuite plus rooms.
And how many did you share with on your block?
So I shared the kitchen with 7 other people, so there were 8 of us. So yeah, there's a diner. So we're going into the kitchen now. There's a dining area where you have the table and the chairs, and then it's split into 2 kitchens. So each kitchen is shared between 4 students.
So these are quite unique, aren't they? That you've kind of got two wings, haven't you? Where you can kind of cook in, and then you've got the centre bit.
Yeah. So like let's say there's like 2 people that need to cook. You can just, use 2 kitchens to cook. I mean, typically people don't really cook at the same time because everyone has like different schedules. So it wasn't too much of a hassle. Yeah. So you've got the cooker, the oven in the kitchen, and the same one in the other kitchen as well.
And what do you get in these kitchens? So what do you need to bring, and what do you not need to bring?
So as you can see, you've got the electric kettle and a microwave as well. So you don't need to bring those, definitely. But you do need to bring your cooking materials and cooking utensils like forks, spoons, pots, pans. There's not a toaster provided, but I think when you move in, you and your flatmates can, agree to each donate to buy a toaster.
Everyone's been saying that to kind of the best thing to do is to not all bring one. Just wait till you get there and then
you
buy
don't
a
want
toaster.
8 toasters in the kitchen.
So how was cooking for you then? Would you say you're a good cook? How would you rate your own cooking skills?
I think I kind of learned on the job, to be honest. So before I moved to uni, I didn't really cook that much, but moving to uni, you have to do your own cooking. So I started like watching recipe videos online and just,
What would you say your speciality is now? What was your favorite dish to make?
I'd say rice and stew. That's like a typical Nigerian dish. So yeah, just rice and like tomato stew.
And so cupboard space in these kitchens then, how did you kind of split it out? Did you each have a cupboard, or did you each have shelves in the cupboard?
Yeah, so when we moved in, we kind of like allocated space to each flatmate. So everyone had their own cupboard space and fridge space as well. So it was better so as not to get like food mixed up and stuff. So yeah, you can just agree with your flatmates to have your own space, and I think that should be fine.
So we've got a question about parking. So someone's asked if you've got a car, how does it work? I know we briefly mentioned it, but what's the best thing to do if you've got a car?
Yeah, I think there's some, eligibility criteria that you have to meet to be able to get a parking permit on campus, but I don't really have that on top of my head.
So I think if you need to apply for your parking permit to use the spaces
Yes.
outside the halls.
Yes. But more information on that should be on the website.
But would you say you need, if you're at Keele, would you say you need a car?
I don't think you do, especially if you live on campus. I don't think you would need a car because the bus comes during term time. I think about every 10 to 15 minutes, and the bus goes into Newcastle and up to Hanley as well, which are the main town centres where you can go out to do your shopping, go out to eat and all of that. So yeah.
And so, if you're an international student, do you share with just international students, or are you put with a mixed bunch of people?
No, I was the only international student in my flat in first year, but I think that was good because I got to meet people from here as well. And then when I moved in, because international students move in earlier than home students, so I already made some international friends. So yeah, it's not, you don't get put with only international students. You get a good mix.
And so in downtime between your studies and things like that, what would you recommend doing at Keele? Where would you go to sort of socialise with each other?
You can go to the SU. I think the SU is a really good place to, socialize, sit down, catch up with your friends. And then you could also go on walks around Keele Hall and the lakes as well. It's really, really beautiful down there. So you can go on walks there as well. You can also just go to I used to go to the chapel a lot. Just because there's free tea and coffee there. So you can just sit there, have some tea and coffee, and then just chat with people. I used to chat with a lot of people from the Christian Union there. So yeah, there's so many places that you can just socialize on campus.
So someone's asked, are we doing Lindsay? So we're not doing Lindsay today. We've just done the 3. But if you do want to have a look at Lindsay, you can go to virtualtour.keele.ac.uk, and there are some photos of Lindsay on there. Someone said, this is an interesting question. I'm not sure if you might be able to answer this, you might not, so don't worry. But someone said, I was wondering, is it possible to allow parents to live in any of these so they can stay for a bit until international students settle down? So I'm guessing they probably can't live in the halls with you, but support in terms of having your parents come over with you, is that possible, would you say? Or would you just say that they probably need to book a hotel and kind of stay there?
I think it would be better for the parents to book a hotel and stay there because, you're coming to uni. You don't want to, be with your parents all the time. You want to get out there and make friends. So I think the parents can just come, bring your stuff with you, just accompany you to uni. But I think they'd be better off just getting a hotel, maybe close to Keele, and then just letting you do what you have to do.
Yeah. How did you find it? Was it nerve-wracking, or did it kind of settle in quite easily, and it wasn't as bad did the nerves settle quite quickly?
I think once I got to Keele, the nerves settled because I'd met people. I met someone from Nigeria as well because it was International Moving Day. So I kind of met people that kind of understood where I was coming from. So it was really, really relieving. Yeah.
Someone's asked, are the buses wheelchair accessible? Do you know or not?
Yes, they are.
Another question is, what part-time jobs are available? You should be an expert at this because you're currently doing one.
Yeah, I'm currently doing one. Student ambassador is one of the part-time jobs available, and it's really, really good because it's casual and you can fit around your timetable.
What else do you do as a student ambassador?
So I do this open days. I also do offer holder days as well. Do campus tours in case some people just come on campus and want to be shown around. We also do sometimes we go out to schools as well. Especially if you're a High Horizons ambassador, you can go out to schools and speak to students on progressing to uni as well. So we do a range of different stuff.
So an interesting is there a lamp provided in the room? Do you know?
There's no lamp provided in the room, but I think on top of the desk there's like a light.
So just underneath that shelf, is it?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Right above the bed as well. There's a light there as well.
Amazing. Well, thank you very much for that, Ayindamola. Again, if you've got any questions and you need to talk to our accommodation team, they're here until 2 p.m. on Unibuddy, so keele.ac.uk/chat. But yeah, thank you very much for showing us around Hollycross and the Oaks, and I'll see you again soon.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Keele is surrounded by a wealth of culture and arts, theatres, museums and local attractions, cinemas and shops.
There are shops and bars on campus, but if you fancy a change of scene, you can hop on a bus just outside the Students' Union.
Our nearest town is Newcastle-under-Lyme, which is only 10 minutes away. Newcastle has a fantastic high street with lots of cafes, bars, pubs and restaurants, plus 4 supermarkets including Aldi, Lidl, Morrison's and Sainsbury's. In the centre of Newcastle you'll find the Limelight Boulevard, which is home to View Cinema, Laser Quest and Escape Room. Just down the road is the New Vic Theatre, where you can enjoy a range of shows, comedians and artists.
Stoke-on-Trent is the closest city and it's only 20 minutes away. Into Potteries is packed with a variety of shops and includes the Hive, which has restaurants and a place to see the latest films at Cineworld. It's also home of the Cultural Quarter, which is the hub of creative and entertainment venues, which includes the Regent Theatre, Victoria Hall and the Mitchell Arts Centre. You can also visit the Potteries Museum and Art Gallery or the Emma Bridge Water Factory, where you can try your hand at decorating your own piece of pottery. Just across the way from Hanley is Festival Park, which includes a variety of shops and restaurants, Odeon Cinema, 10-pin bowling, a dry ski slope and Water World.
Looking to go for a day out nearby? There are so many places to explore all within an hour of campus.
So whether you're looking for an exciting day out or a peaceful walk around Britain's biggest campus, Keele offers the best of both worlds.
Hello and welcome back. Welcome back to the stream. So we're now on to our next activity, which is our walking tour of campus. So I'm joined by Sophie and Alicia. Alicia, do you want to start by introducing yourself and tell us what you studied at Keele? Or study at Keele, should I say?
Hi, I'm Alicia. I'm just going into my second year of Environment and Sustainability at Keele. I'm a mature student.
And Sophie, I know we've had you on the stream before, but just anyone who's new, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us what you studied?
Yeah. Hello, I'm Sophie, and I'm in my third year at Keele studying mental health nursing.
So we're going to start at this top of campus and take a walk around. I'm going to hand this over to you two to kind of give us a tour. But if you've got any questions, pop them in the comments and I'll ask them to both Alicia and Sophie as we go through. So yeah, off we go really. So we're currently at the top of campus. I guess, do you want to start by telling people what's the best way to get to campus and what transport options we've got in terms of getting to Keele?
Okay, I'll lead that. So there's bus services that run directly into campus. They take you down to Stoke-on-Trent. There's a large bus terminal down at Stoke-on-Trent that then takes you on. That bus service also serves directly into the train station, which links down to Birmingham up to Scotland, direct down to London. So those are your best options. There's limited car parking on site with parking permits. There are eligibility criteria. All of the details of that are available online. The other option, something I did last year, you can also buy keys for bike sheds on site. It was £15 for the year last year, and they're lockable, secure, heated. That's another option as well, to bring your bike.
So a first question, someone's asked, do we have any campus facilities like a gym or a pool? I know we'll see the sports facilities later on, but in terms of a pool, where's the best place if you want to go for a swim to do that?
I was actually part of the swim society last year, the swim club. So it met 3 times a year. There is a swimming pool on site. The swimming club was very, very active. They met every Tuesday, Thursday and Sunday evenings. It was an hour in the pool on the Tuesday and the Thursday and an hour and a half on the Sunday. It's not a cheap club to join, but your transport was laid on as well. So when you take into account the whole package, it was actually a very reasonable thing to do. It was a very supportive club, and the committee that's taking over this year were very active members last year. So same ethos coming forward into this year.
Yeah, so the new business school, I think it's the Denise Coates building. I think I can't remember. I think it was maybe this year or last year that it opened. I think it was last year. It's home to like programs such as like accounting and finance, and I believe it's got a cafe inside as well. It is really nice, big building.
And then we also just went past the Sustainability Hub as well. So what is the Sustainability Hub there?
The Sustainability Hub is it's more for the masters and postgrads. It's been used as a bit of it's got loads of all the new fancy technologies in there. It's not actually used for any of the undergrad teaching necessarily. there's a few business offices there as well, but if you're on an environmental sustainability course, you're more likely to be down on main campus.
So what are we looking at there? These IC4 buildings?
Yeah, the IC buildings.
And so what are they? Are they academic buildings or?
From what I can remember, they are academic buildings. I think there was offices in there. The student ambassador team are also based in there, which is obviously what we do.
So yeah, so the just in front of us there, David Weatherall. So who uses David Weatherall?
That's the medicine building. So it has in the David Weatherall has the anatomy suite.
Smashing. And I think the science park, so the innovation science parks, they've got external businesses in as well, haven't they? So students can do placements with some of the external businesses there, but it's also a great connection for us for the local area and local businesses as well. So I know that in IC6 there are some businesses as well that have offices there and work on site at Keele. So we've seen this morning, straight ahead of us, but do you want to tell us about what we're currently walking past now?
Yeah, so that's the new Barnes accommodation, which I think built around 2 years ago. One of the closest accommodations to campus. This is the entrance here, and the accommodation office is also based in the new Barnes building.
Cool. And so, Sophie, you've not lived in Barnes, have you? You lived in Horwood, didn't you? Did you ever pop to Barnes Bar or anything like that? Have either of you been in Barnes Bar or used any of the facilities there?
My first year I lived in Horwood. My second year I did live in Barnes. It wasn't these new buildings, so it was the old ones. And even though I did live in Barnes for my second year, I never actually went to Barnes Bar. Probably should have, but I have heard that it's good. And they have some quiz nights going on there as well.
I'm going to be moving into Barnes this year coming, but it's a non-traditional type halls. It's called Sustainability Bungalow.
Oh, I've been in there. It's fascinating in there. Yeah, do tell us about the sustainability.
I haven't been in yet, so we'll have to talk notes later. It's for 4 students, and it's another living lab for ways to live sustainably. Veg garden there, which also is involved with. There's another larger veg garden up by Clock House Tower, and the 4 students in the sustainability bungalow get involved in a lot of projects, promote that online through Facebook, social media. So there's that other branch as well for people who are interested. Anyone can apply for it when you apply for normal accommodation, but just to make people aware that there is that other option there as well for accommodation on site.
And do you know more about the living lab that Keele is currently involved in? Do you know about that project?
I know about a few of them, but Keele seems to get involved in quite a lot. There's things like high deploy send, which are both different alternative energy uses. They've been publicised online. Keele as a remote campus can be involved in things like both send and high deploy. It's basically taking Keele off the national network. It can play around with its own energy supply to see if it works. Keele is basically the size of a small town, and with the different energy requirements, different times that energy is needed, it makes it sort of comparable to a small town. So if it works at Keele, it can then be rolled out on a larger basis, regionally, with the view to it going nationally. So it's quite exciting to get involved in stuff like that. We think we had the BBC come up to interview just before Christmas. So yeah, there's lots going on there.
Amazing. So, Sophie, do you want to tell us a bit about what we're currently walking past now? So, this is kind of the social zone of Barnes, would you say?
Yeah, so just there is Barnes Bar. Like I said, you can go in there for a drink, and they also have like things like quizzes on, and some of the societies hold events as well. And this here is the Barnes Common Room. So people with a Keele card who live in Barnes accommodation can access it with their Keele card. It's got like 2 rooms with like table sofas. You can sit on, do work, or there's like a TV that you can connect your laptop to, so you can also use the TV as well. And then, as we saw there, is some designated barbecue areas as well.
And then we're just going past some of the shared flats and houses. So Barnes is the biggest accommodation on site. I think over 1,000 rooms, I think I'm right in saying.
Yeah.
So there's lots of different variety of accommodation here. Did both of you kind of, either of you get a chance to kind of visit people in different halls, and did you compare halls? Do people mix quite a lot between the halls, or do people stay within their kind of halls of residence? So Horwood people mix with Horwood people, Barnes people mix with Barnes people. How does the social aspect of living in halls work?
I think you can. Obviously, there's like people on your course that you make friends with that are in different accommodations. Obviously, you can go around, to each other's accommodation. I think generally I live with people who were on my course, and people who were in the same blocks, like on different corridors, were also on my course as well. So we were able to sort of stay in our accommodation. But there was the occasional person on my course who was in different accommodations, so we could go over there to socialise. So.
And so just ahead of us that's the Islamic Centre, isn't it?
Yeah, the Islamic Centre, yeah.
And so Barnes is obviously near the Sports Centre, which is just across the way. So, Alicia, do you want to tell us a bit about the Sports Centre and the facilities there?
Okay, so I think the Sports Centre may change a little bit given current circumstances, but for last year it had exercise classes every day, discounted price for students. I seem to remember it was somewhere around £2.80 a class. There's also a gym upstairs. They did a series of free classes and events through what was called Wellbeing Week, which was the exam period. And then they do sort of one-off things, Glow Zumba, that sort of thing. There's also a hairdressers in there. There's a sports massage facility. There's the Talented Athlete Programme, which I don't know much about, but I think there is information online and you could always contact them for that. There's also a very large area behind with outdoor areas for things like volleyball. There's the rugby bit there, tennis. There's a running track around there as well. So there's a lot going on there.
I think we're just going to go past all the courts and the running track and things like that in just a sec as we go across the field. We're actually coming up to where High Deploy is based as well, where the actual the temporary site where the kind of the temporary lab is. We'll walk past that in a second. So just remind us. So the High Deploy is the gas network trials, isn't it?
Yes, it's putting a higher proportion of hydrogen in the network, so that it's a cleaner output of less carbon. It's basically splitting its water rather than carbon.
And a really big playing field here. I think this is the biggest on site, isn't it, in terms of pitch size with rugby facilities there.
The other thing with the sports, sorry, I should have mentioned, if you join the student union and there's also the athletics union, Wednesday is the big social night for the AEU. They do the AEU takeover, or it was last year, so hopefully we'll get back to that this year as well, which is quite a big thing. They're trying to keep matches on Wednesdays. So the aim was to keep Wednesday afternoons free of teaching. That hasn't actually been possible, but it is something that's being campaigned for at the moment, so that everyone should have the chance to do it. That said, a bit like Sophie, I actually never went to one of the AU nights, and there's absolutely no pressure on that whatsoever. You can do as much or as little as you want to do.
So we've got a few questions about parking on campus. Do either of you want to take this? So what would you recommend? A, having a car if you study at Keele, and B, what is the approach to getting a car parking permit and using your car around the Keele campus?
So there's categories, like criteria for parking permits, which you can find on the Keele website. I think if because I had placements, a lot of my course was placements, so having a car for me was very useful because some of my placements were in like a 20-mile radius. So I did have a car and did have a parking permit in my second year. My first year I didn't, which was okay because, like Alicia said, the buses are quite frequent into campus and into the town centres, Newcastle-under-Lyme, Stoke-on-Trent. I think if you have a lot of your lectures on campus and or don't have placements, I think I would say to leave your car. I think it would just be easier, it'd save you money. The parking on campus is limited, and also there's lots of facilities on campus that you can use. So I think if you don't really need your car, I would maybe recommend leaving it here.
Fantastic. So we're just seeing some of the courts there. So we've got, what courts have we got? Do you know, Alicia? We've got a volleyball court, tennis courts.
Sorry, I can't actually get that image up at the moment, but from memory there was rugby, volleyball, very large tennis, and a running track. But I can't.
And we're just seeing the 4G pitch.
I know that we had
just on the
hockey,
right there. Yes, we get. Then there's a hockey pitch as well. But yeah, the 4G pitch just on the right. I think we're just seeing, and we're just going across the running track now. And then at the top, there's also another football and rugby pitch, isn't there, as well, above the 4G pitch.
There's also two large sports halls inside, and there are squash courts inside the sports centre building as well.
What people don't know, there's
also three large sports rooms inside.
Yes, and a gym. And what do you know? A lot of people don't realise there's also a hairdressers inside the sports centre as well. So you don't have to leave campus to get a haircut. There's a hairdressers in the sports centre.
Yeah, I do recommend the hairdressers as well, because even I'm not on campus now and I'm not even living in Staffordshire anymore, but I still actually go to that hairdressers.
Oh, it's lovely.
Yeah.
So someone's, I don't know if you'll be able to answer this, someone's asked what is in the Islamic Centre. If neither of you can answer it, I've got the website here so I can tell you what's inside there. Do either of you know?
No. I'm sorry, I don't.
No, so they host regular activities. In term time, most of the daily prayers are offered. So there are prayer spaces available. So if you go to, if you Google Keele Islamic Centre, there's a full page that kind of lists what's there and what they can offer. But essentially, the Keele Islamic Centre was established in that location in 2006. And it offers the Muslim community at Keele a place to worship and socialise. They also welcome all denominations and both genders as well. So it's a fully welcome place for those who want to use the facilities. And it's accessed via your Keele card, and you can register using the button on the page there. So that's the Islamic Centre. So again, this is the front of the sports centre here, isn't it? So that's where you go in if you want to use the squash courts and the gym that you've just been talking about. And so where are we heading next? So next we're heading past the law and counselling buildings. So Sophie, do you want to tell us a bit more about these?
Yeah, so we've got the, I believe it's the Newsom building, which is the law school.
Oh, sorry, the Chancellor's building is the law school, do you mean?
Yes, yeah, Chancellor's building is law school. And then on the right, we have counselling building as well, which students can access. Which if you just Google Keele Counselling Services, you can read the information there and register online as well.
So the interesting fact about the Newsom building is that Audrey Newsom was a member of staff at Keele, one of the original members of staff at Keele. I'm not sure if she was here when Keele was first formed, but she set up the counselling and mental health support, and it was the first of its kind at any university in the UK. Sadly, Audrey actually passed away quite recently, but that building is there in her name, and she kind of, the legacy continues really of the great work that she did. And I think it's one of the great things about Keele is a great counselling and mental health support service and student support in general, really. So we're just going around the back of Chancellor's there. So Chancellor's isn't just the law school, though, is it? The Chancellor's is
No.
It's the biggest building on campus, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's a lot of cafes and eating spaces, meeting rooms there. It's quite a good space to go if you just want to chill out, or if you want to do some work, or if you want to do group work, take your lunch up there. There's also a large lecture theatre up there where they get external speakers in, and I went to a professor's inaugural lecture up there last year too.
So just going past
And
Colin
that's where the
Reeves.
modern languages are taught as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing Chancellors, it's safe to say you'll probably experience Chancellors at least one point during your time at Keele. And you'll also probably get lost in there as well, which I've done many a time. So just gone past Colin Reeves there and just heading up to the media building now. So these are more course-specific buildings, am I right in saying? So if you study a specific course, you're likely to use this building, especially with the media building. There's TV studios in there, isn't there, and things like that.
I don't know much about the media building. The only thing I know the media building for is it's got the post room.
Yeah, on the back of it, yes. We'll go around there in just a second. So just remind me again, what do you both study? So Sophie, you study
Mental health nursing.
And so where do you spend most of your time in terms of what building you spend most of your time in?
So we're not actually on campus. We are actually at the hospital. So there's a building called the Clinical Education Centre, which is nursing and midwifery, which is where we spend our time and have our lectures.
And then Alicia, you study
So I am on
sustainability?
campus. Most of mine are in the William Smith building, which is the School for Geography, Geology and the Environment. But my course, it was one of the attractions of Keele for me. It's quite a flexible course in terms of its modules, and we do a lot of cross-school working. So we had lectures with the politics cohort last year, for example, School of Life Sciences. So we aren't actually in just one building. We're all over the shop, basically, depending on where you go. And I did choose to do a modern language as an optional last year as well, and hopefully this year as well, which was back in Chancellor's.
So we just gone past the post room. So Sophie, do you want to explain what the post room is and how you use it?
Yeah, so you've got the post room, and when you move in, on your accommodation portal, you'll be able to find your address. So you can get things obviously sent to you, order things online, and they will go to the post room. And on the website, if you just type in Keele University post room on Google, it'll come up with term time and non-term time times when the post room is open. You just take your Keele card. Obviously show them that and your address, and then you can collect your post from there.
So a brand new building on campus here that we're going past now. So Alicia, what are we looking at here?
Is this a CSL?
It is a CSL.
Yeah. So it's about 3 or 4 floors of brand new laboratories. There's a computer suite upstairs, which full length, and then there's science labs as well for things like geology, and we had there was chemistry in there as well. So I'm assuming the other sciences meet in there too. All your science equipment's in there. Very fancy, very plush.
It is lovely. Have you been in? Have either of you been in?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you actually have classes in there then?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've had both upstairs in the the computer lab for practicals, things like GIS, Google Earth. We also had introductory lectures from librarians in how to do library searches specific to our course there, the merits of different types of searches, sources of information, referencing, that sort of thing, statistics. And then I've also had science practicals further down. You've got all your microscopes, you've got your geology samples. It's all there. They've got projectors on the wall as well, so where you're in quite a large room, the lecturers can display everything on the side so that you can still sort of work as a bit of group, and everyone can see. You're not restricted on view that way. It's also got, talking about access, it's also got lifts as well, so it is a perfectly accessible building.
And as well, it's got some great audio in there as well. I noticed that the lecturers, they wear a microphone, don't they, so that wherever you're sat in the room, you can hear everything nice and cleanly. It's a really high tech building, isn't it?
Yeah, it was opened by David Attenborough, not May just gone, May before, so it is very new.
So the one across the road was opened by David Attenborough.
Sorry.
They're the David Attenborough Labs. We'll have a look at those when we walk past. But yeah, you're right. The legend himself was on campus last year to open some of our laboratories. So we're just going past the front entrance of the Chancellor's building now. So Sophie, do you want to tell us kind of? I know we kind of talked about it but just explain Chancellor's for us. What's in there and what can you expect when you arrive?
So Chancellor's, as you can see there, is a food court. So there's like a shop, and then there's like a restaurant and cafes where you can go and get food and drink. And it's the law school, but it's also the main reception for the university as well. And it has the largest lecture theatre on campus, I believe, which is the Westminster Theatre.
I think there's just the only one that rivals it is the new one in the business school is fairly big as well. And am I right? I think there's another one in one of the other buildings that's fairly large as well. Is it Walter Mobley? Not sure, but I think Chancellor still is the largest. And you'll more than likely have at least one sort of tutorial in Chancellor's, won't you? Obviously, this all depends on coronavirus and all that, but it's the largest building with lots of teaching spaces, so it tends to be that courses use it for some smaller seminars and tutorials as well as the bigger lectures. And then just heading to student support. So I know we mentioned the counselling and mental health building. So Alicia, do you want to talk about what we're looking at now at the building that we're just heading to now?
So student support is more things like finance applications. If you need to access, I guess it's the less medical side, whereas Newsom is the counselling service itself. Student support is everything else. It's the wellbeing that goes alongside it, more of the pastoral care side of things.
So someone's just helpfully said, so Chancellor's is the largest, and then the other one's in Dorothy Hodgkin. That's the one I was thinking of. And there's also one in the new David. There's also a new lecture theatre in the David Attenborough Labs as well. There's plenty of big lecture theatres on campus. Thank you to my little secret helper there in the chat for passing that to me. So have either of you used any of the student support services during your time at Keele?
I have, yes.
I'm guessing any problem, big or small, just kind of get in touch with them, isn't it? And they'll help you. Don't kind of try and figure it out by yourself. Just get in touch and they'll help you as best they can.
Yeah. The other thing, it's not listed on this list. We may go past it, but there's also the GP on site as well.
So we saw that during the Horwood tour. The health centre, which... so when you come to campus, you can register your GP on campus, and any medical needs you can pop there.
Yeah, it was very easy to register last year. They just sent the forms out in the post to us before we arrived, and then on the weekend that we all arrived, funny enough, it was in Chancellor's. They just everyone go up, hand in your form. They checked it all off, and it was all done very, very quickly.
And so now we're just walking down Cherry Tree Walk. It's sadly not in bloom at the moment, which is unfortunate. But do any of you know the facts about the cherry trees on campus? Any of you a cherry tree expert?
I know it's a national collection.
So it is actually the largest in Europe, our cherry tree collection, and there are just so many of them on campus. And they bloom for about, I'd say, just over a month, maybe 3 weeks to maybe 3 or 4 weeks. You get them in full bloom, and they do look amazing, don't they? When they're all the pinks and the blossoms are on show. And now we're heading to the centre of, it's the beating heart of campus, isn't it? This Union Square. Yeah. It's where everything sort of connects into one at Union Square. So who's taking this? Is it you, Sophie?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us a bit more about the centre of campus?
Yes, the centre of campus. So in the middle is like it's called the Forest of Light. In the middle there, what you can see, and the centre of campus. There's the chapel. So you can access that. Anyone can access the chapel. There's lots of information about the services they hold there on the Keele website. And then there also is the library, which is also obviously a big part of campus. It's, I think, from what I can remember, it's 3 floors, and term time is 24 hours a day. And the library also has the career service, and there's lots of silent study spaces, group study spaces. There's also refreshment areas in the library as well. And what we're just facing there was the Students' Union. So that's 3 floors, and in the Students' Union there's the Ask service, which is where you can go for advice and support. So similar to sort of student support services, if you need any advice, housing, things like that, you can go speak to those. There's volunteer services in the Students' Union. There is like cafes, and last time I went in there was a small shop as well, and there was a lot of events and balls held in the Students' Union. And there is a couple of shops and things in the centre as well. I know recently some of them have closed, so I'm not sure whether those will be replaced.
And so we're just looking at the library now. So I'm guessing you've both used the library. Your time at Keele, tell us a bit about it. Either of you.
It's very big. There is a lot of space. Like I said before, there's if you go on your own, there's silent study spaces. But then there is like bigger spaces, like group spaces as well, if you want to go in a group. And there's a large collection of books, and you access that with like your Keele card, printing and things like that. There's machines where you can top up your Keele card. Again, there's refreshments as well. They are minimal, which is why there's obviously shops and cafes about on campus.
So Fiona's asked, is there any way we can see the lecture halls? We're not going to go inside the buildings on this tour. We're just having a walk around the exterior of campus. But if you go to virtualtour.keele.ac.uk, there may be some 360s on there of some of the lecture theatres that you can have a look at and have a look inside of. Just gone past the chapel there, which you said you get. There's a variety of things going on there, isn't there? There's the free tea and toast that happens after nights out. Sometimes there's free tea and coffee in the day, so you can pop in and get a free drink. But it's also where you graduate as well. Now, sadly, we couldn't hold graduation there this year, but when things get back to the new normal, we can hopefully start to hold our graduation ceremonies back in the chapel again. So you get to take all your pictures in your robes on campus and then go and graduate inside the chapel.
It's a very nice non-judgmental space. Whilst it is a chapel, and that is what it is. I have been in there. I'm not a religious person, but I was still made to feel very welcome. It's just a very calming space to go somewhere different.
So that's William Smith then. And you mentioned that's the building that you study in, isn't it? You have some of your classes in there.
Yes. So the classes are downstairs, and then upstairs are tutor offices. It's an older building. That's the School of Geography, Geology and the Environment.
And then we've got the School of Pharmacy here as well. So again, going up Central Drive, you've kind of got the teaching buildings, haven't you, that are kind of school specific or course specific to your study.
Yeah. It's Dorothy Hodgkin, which I believe's for the psychology department.
Yep.
And then on the other side, there's the life sciences building. But that was the one that David Attenborough opened. And again, that's a mixture of lecture theatres and labs.
So the life sciences building. So the CSL is actually an extension of. It's on the back of Leonard Jones. So that's it's so big though. It's its own building really. So that was built. I think that was only opened last year, and then the same with the David Attenborough Laboratories. That's an extension to the life sciences building, Huxley, which we're just coming up to on our left now, and that was opened by Sir David Attenborough in about March, or was it May last year? I think May 2019.
I think it was May.
I should know. I amazingly got to interview him, which was amazing. So he came, he opened the laboratories, some of our students showed him some of the work that we're doing at Keele, and then he gave a fantastic guest lecture inside the Chancellor's building about his life work really. So have either of you been into the David Attenborough Laboratories?
Yes, again, I have, because of the cross-school working on my course. So whilst I'm GGE school, some of my modules are with life sciences. So yes, I've been in there. Again, very new. They've got lockers in there as well for if you have a lesson in the lab, so that you don't take your stuff in with you.
And we've also got, if you go to the virtual tour, there's a tour of that building on there, so you can get a full walkthrough of that building and see the new labs and the new teaching spaces. So Leonard Jones, do we know who's inside Leonard Jones?
I want to say it's physics.
It's forensics do a few bits in there, yeah. Physics do a bit, and then we've also got what we'll see on the left here, which is the crime scene house, which spooks a few people out because people don't understand what it is, but it's essentially. I'm guessing neither of you have been inside the crime scene house.
Yeah, I have actually been in, because like we're nursing, we have actually been in. So it's just a house. It's used by like forensic science. And it is what it says, is a crime scene house, And
they do like mock break-ins, and you can do fingerprints, and they basically take what they're learning and put it into a real life environment, and so they can be assessed and get a feel for how things are. So just walking past Lindsay now. So Lindsay's the only accommodation that we didn't get to go inside today. We don't get to go inside it now, but we will have a look on the outside of it because it's got some great social spaces as well. So who's taking Lindsay? So we've got Sophie. Do you want to tell us a bit more about Lindsay?
Yeah, so Lindsay is one of the accommodations on campus, and it has a bar which serves food as well. I've been in there, and it's a very nice place. So just because you're not in Lindsay accommodation doesn't mean you can't go there. You can go there, have a drink. Is a nice place to go.
It seems very popular, Lindsay Bar and Cafe. I do hear about it a lot. Is it one of those places that everyone recommends to just go?
Yeah, they do serve very nice food.
And again,
it's also next to there's a memorial garden and also a vegetable garden on site. Both of those are next to Lindsay. So the memorial garden is planted up as an orchard. It's just got a few benches in it. You can go reflect. They look over the farmland, so it's quite a nice view. It's very calming from there. And the vegetable garden, it's open to any student. Last year there was once or twice weekly meetings in there. Anyone could come along and help dig the patch over or have their own space. So anyone's welcome to get involved in that too. And you can take the produce back to cook yourself.
I was just going to say, it's a great little thing, isn't it, to get involved with. You get to kind of learn how to grow your own produce, and then also you get to take it home and cook with it and eat it as well.
I believe that there were also planters being put on campus towards the end of last year as well, much closer to the accommodation blocks for herbs, which again, people can just help yourself. However many students are going to be cooking with herbs, at least the option's there.
So Kyle's just said there are 3 pool tables in Lindsay Bar. Is that correct? I'm guessing so.
Yes, I think there was 3.
So what there's obviously, we're going to have a look now. There's Lindsay Bar and Cafe, and then the Hexagon as well, which is that the common room? Is it the Hexagon?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, the common room for Lindsay.
And straight ahead of us is Lindsay Studios, which is part of the music school.
Yeah.
So some big recording studio facilities in there, as well as some small recording booths as well. So I think we're just going to see Lindsay Bar and Cafe just down these steps now. So Sophie, you say you've had some food from there before, have you?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
What would you recommend from Lindsay Cafe and Bar?
I think I'd recommend the sweet potato fries. They are very nice from Lindsay Bar.
And then the Hexagon in here. So I've been in the Hexagon's got a pool table in as well, I think, and it's a space where you can sit and play, sit and socialise with each other. There's some tables and chairs and they're inside there. There's also, am I right in saying you can book this space if you're a club or society?
I'm not too sure. I think it does ring a bell that you can book it.
I know one of the choirs meets in the Lindsay Theatre every week.
Right. I think inside the Hexagon there's sort of a very basic kitchen in there. So if you're having a society event, you could order some pizzas or something, and there's a sort of a place to prep those. So there's quite a bit on Lindsay, really, isn't there, in terms of its bar and its common room and where it is. There's also a field, isn't there, with some horses that people like to sit and say hello to on the way to their classes. So we're going. So we've gone through Lindsay Court there. There's also some shared flats and houses on the side of Lindsay, and then we're just going to the front of Lindsay now, which has also again got some more accommodation. And then we'll head down. So we're kind of around the back now of campus, aren't we? Around the rear of the main buildings, rear of the library and things like that. So as I say, everyone who's watching, if you've got any questions as we're going around, just pop them in the comments and I can ask them as we're going along. Any sports societies that you're both part of?
So I was part, as I mentioned before, the swim club. I was also part of Wildlife Society, and there was a new one that started last year, National Trust in English Heritage, which, going back to the question about cars, I found really helpful because they talk about the Keele bubble, and there's so much going on campus that it's very easy to sort of lose yourself in the Keele bubble. But that society organised trips off-site, predictably to National Trust and English Heritage sites. So just to be able to get out for a day away, that was quite good fun. We had a trip just before Christmas. Everyone got dressed up with Santa hats and we went and played on the playground. We did actually go and look at the property too. So those were the ones I was involved with.
Sophie, any for you?
I'm not really a sporty person, but I did join the frisbee
Ultimate Frisbee.
Ultimate Frisbee.
Amazing.
But I think that only lasted about one session for me, because as I said, I'm not a very sports person. But I do recommend joining the society, because obviously I'm like at the end of my third year now, and it is one of the things I wish I'd have done. I wish at the start I had have joined a society.
I guess, like you've just said, though, isn't it? If you join one and you don't enjoy it, you can just not go back, and at least you tried it and you give it a go. So there's no harm.
There is like for like athletic unions and like societies, I think there is memberships, but there is like always an option to try it first. They're not going to expect you to pay for a whole membership, and you've got to stay with it. You can just go and give it a try.
It would be advice for Welcome Week during those first few weeks. Go to it goes crazy, but go to as many of those different taster sessions as you can possibly go to, because when I went, I was absolutely adamant that there was no way I was going to join a swimming club. But I went along to it, and I made some of my best friends through the societies. And if I hadn't gone to that taster session, I would never have known. Actually, I really, really enjoyed it.
I guess it's the one thing you can control, isn't it? Because you may be in your accommodation block, and you may be put with people that you perhaps don't share a common interest with, and you don't want to sort of hang around with them outside of your studies. But if you go to somewhere like swimming or somewhere like Ultimate Frisbee, you're going to meet people who like the same thing as you, and like you say, form friendships that way.
Or it might be that actually you realise you don't like that society, but you meet someone there who's saying they're going on to another taster session afterwards, and that's the thing that you like, or you like that person. So, just get involved in as much as you possibly can. You're never going to get that opportunity again, so do it.
And I know that things may be different.
Says, throughout the year, you can always give it a go sessions for free. That's not a problem.
Yeah, and I guess that's the thing to say, isn't it? You don't have to do it right at the start in September. If you don't join clubs and societies, then you can still join them partway through the year. But also, I know things are going to be different this year with coronavirus. But I know the Students' Union and the Students' Services team are working hard to kind of put into place methods where those things can still happen, and you can still join those societies and be a part of sports and things like that as best we can, under whatever restrictions the government and Public Health England advise. So a question for you, Sophie. Someone's put, how much free time do you have given that you're studying nursing? Interesting question.
Okay, so it's a lot, like, it's obviously theory based, but also a lot placement based. So like at the moment I do when we're on placements can depend like the length of time they are. It depends what year you're in. So you can work like 37.5-hour weeks. So obviously there isn't much free time. But when like your theory, you do have a couple of days in, a couple of days off. So there is free time there. I think with nursing, it's about organising your time, organising your work, and obviously making time for yourself, because you need obviously time for yourself, whatever you're doing. But I think from experience, nursing is a heavy course, but I mean that's what the job is, essentially. But it's definitely worth it.
And so we're just at the Clock House now. Alicia, do you want to tell us about the Clock House? And it's kind of split into two, isn't it?
So Clock House is music, media, that side of it. It's actually a really lovely building. It's an old stable, the old stable area, I believe. And it's got the walk down to the lakes behind it to get down to the Clock House that way too. Really nice driveway up to it. It's just a very pretty place to be. But that's music and media.
And then, so what we're looking at now is actually the original entrance to campus. So this was back when it was not owned by Keele University and not a university, and it was just a big manor house. And this is where the original Sneed family would have come to their property and arrived down that huge driveway there. And so, yeah, as you say, the Clock House was the stables, and then Keele Hall, which we're just going round to now, was their home, and it was the only building. Well, apart from some other buildings, some other huts that were there from left over from the war, it was the main teaching facility on campus when it first opened. Keele Hall was, so they used to have lectures and all of their classes happened inside Keele Hall. These days it's just there for conferencing and events, and some postgraduate study happens in there as well, but it's more an event space than it is teaching space now, but also just a lovely place to go and have a walk, which we'll have a look at now.
I've been to just chipping in here, I've been to quite a few of the Grand Challenges lectures, the ILS lectures that happen at Keele Hall, and again it's something I would really, really recommend. There are some amazing external speakers that come in, so whether it's related to your course or not, again, it's one of those opportunities that are just amazing. I know that for the start of this semester coming, at least, they're going online, but when they were face-to-face, they were done in Keele Hall, and it's really worth going to them.
So just as we're heading to Keele Hall, Holly's asked, do the clubs and societies all happen at the same time? So if you want to be part of more than one, how does that work?
I think from obviously having like friends that have been part of societies and athletic unions, I don't think they all do one on the same days. I think they meet different days and different times. So I think there is, obviously I think that you can do more than one.
And so, Sophie, do you want to tell us a bit about Keele Hall? And I mean, it speaks for itself, really, in what we're kind of looking at. But what's it kind of used for?
So, as you said, like conference and events, and I know nursing, we have a graduation ball, and that's where ours is happening. Obviously, it was meant to be the end of this year, but obviously that can't happen. So it is now we have to move it to next year. So it is used for things like that. Keele Hall also has it's home to like 8 different lakes, and it is very nice place to walk around. Lots of nice scenery, especially in the summer. A lot of people will go and sit and spend time at Keele Hall.
And so we're just past the Italian Gardens now. So these are at the rear of the building, and are the way they're designed is in keeping with the original design from when it was the Sneed family home. And then, as you say, just on the as we walk down this path, and just on the right is the lakes. And so Sophie, as a nursing student, you lived on campus, didn't you? So do you still get to use all those facilities then? You're still part of the campus and part of the main university site, aren't you?
Yeah, so I think one thing like with nursing is obviously we're not based on campus. So I think if obviously you are like commuting and don't live on campus, then I think you can feel a bit distant from campus. So I think that's what's nice about doing nursing and living on campus is you get to obviously like Keele is such a lovely place to live. It's like lots of nice scenery. So I think that was the good thing about living on campus. You feel like close to like the Keele community, and you can use the facilities, and there's lots of things to do. I think with nursing there is the odd occasional time that we are on campus. Like I said, we use the crime scene house and also the David Wetherill building. But even though our lectures aren't on campus, obviously we're still at Keele University, so we can come and use the facilities.
And Alicia, as a mature student, what advice would you have for anyone who's in a similar boat to you?
So I made the unusual decision to sell my house and move into student halls, which got a lot of raised eyebrows at the time.
Is that what you're recommending, is it? Is that what you say?
Do you know what? Yes, I would. It's horses for horses, but I'm very glad I did because it helped me feel like I was part of the university. That said, on my course, I think we're probably about 50-50 split mature student and not normal student. And those who live off campus, when I've spoken to them about it, they don't feel like they're missing out by not living on campus. But I did feel like I got a lot more on things like those evening lectures. I probably wouldn't have gone to as many had I not been on campus. It just helps you get involved. as a mature student, it's probably been about managing expectations. It's been a very good lesson in learning who I am. One of the things that's been very nice is that I haven't felt any pressure to go out. I'm not a club person, and it's been absolutely fine for me not to go to the club nights. If I've wanted to go to a comedy night, then that's been fine, but no one's going to judge you if you don't. There's also the KPA, which I think we're going to go past soon.
So we're currently at Freshers Gate now. So did either of you get a selfie outside it? It's tradition on your first day at Keele and your last day to get a selfie outside the gate. You'll have to go and do it.
I know.
Neither of you. Oh, guys.
I know, let down.
So the tradition is to grab a selfie under there on your first day and on your last day, and then you can pop them side by side. Interesting story, the Freshers Gate. Again, that building in front of us, Keele Hall, was the main university building, and the gate didn't exist at first. It was just the driveway, and lecturers were struggling to get through in their cars as students would, because the students were in the way on the road. So they put in this special gate for them, and then someone graffitied Freshers Gate above it, and no one wanted to admit that they were a fresher, so no one used it, and they all carried on walking on the road and stopping lecturers getting into the car park. So that's the history of that little gate there. But now everyone walks through it and everyone takes their selfie there on their first and last day. I say everyone, apart from the two people in this chat.
Yeah.
Everyone else. So yeah, KPA just ahead of us. Alicia, do you want to tell us about that? Seeing as you are a mature student and hopefully you've made use of it.
I have made good use of it. It's got lovely sofas and fairy lights, so it's right up my street. Again, there's a pool table in there as well. Whilst it's called the Postgrad Association, actually it's used by undergrads as well. You don't have to be a mature student, you have to be over a certain age. When the rugby was on, they showed the rugby, same as a normal pub. They did food there as well. The food is very good. So you've got the bar there, and then there's a room upstairs where some of the societies meet for a sort of smaller, more intimate, friendly thing. There's a folk group that meets up there. It's also used by some of the other people who live on campus, lecturers, staff, that sort of thing. So not limited to just students. It's really got the more adult feel, more like a pub than a student bar.
So someone's had a question about lectures being recorded. So are your lectures available online after you've been to that session?
Yes, it's now compulsory that all lectures are recorded using playback. That if a lecturer doesn't record it, then they've got to actively opt out of that and say why they're not recording it, which is, firstly, it's useful for if you do attend the lecture, you can still catch up afterwards. If for whatever reason you can't attend, it's there. It also was invaluable when lockdown started because it meant we could still be delivered our course content. They just used last year's lectures and brought those forward for us.
So yeah, I guess now is a good time to say, obviously, coronavirus is still, restrictions are still in place, and we're doing a lot on campus to make sure that we can carry on studying as safely as we can. So as we head into September, we're looking at a hybrid model of teaching where some classes will be online, some sort of lab sessions or some face-to-face teaching will happen in smaller groups on campus. But as I say, people will be moving into their accommodations, and our accommodation team are working to make sure that we can put people in certain bubbles and make sure that people don't have to mix too much. But there's lots going on behind the scenes to make sure that campus is as safe as possible. But if you want to find out all the information, if you head to keele.ac.uk/coronavirus, there is an abundance of FAQs on there, so any questions you've got, it's probably the answer you'll find is on that page. And you can also find our level of operation plan. So again, it is flexible, so that if there are any more restrictions, any more local lockdowns or anything like that, we can jump between our 5 levels of operation. We're currently at 3, and hopefully we'll keep working our way down that until we get to a 1 where we can open campus completely normal again. So whereas each of you, we've kind of done the full tour there. We've walked around the entire campus. One favourite spot on campus that you would recommend people going to see, and you can't be Keele Hall, because obviously go and visit Keele Hall, but one spot that you would recommend someone to pop to and go and visit when they arrive at Keele.
For me, it's probably got to be the area behind the clock house. And Tom, before you say, I know that that's very close to Keele Hall, but it's where the lakes are. It's where the green space is. It was one of the reasons why I chose Keele. When you've got the pressure of the workload, to be able to go out into that 600 odd acres, whatever it is, we're so lucky to have that. And just for 20 minutes out made all the difference in the world.
Brilliant. And Sophie, you?
That's a hard one, really. I think I'd say probably the bars, Lindsay Bar, KPA. They also have one in the SU as well. So I'd say go and make use of them as well, because they do lots of nice food, lots of different things going on in them, events. So apart from Keele Hall, it would be like Lindsay Bar and places like that.
Fantastic. So that is it. That was our full campus tour. Thank you everyone for watching. We're going to head into our live Q&A with students, so if you have got any questions, stick around. We're going to take a quick 5-minute break before we do that, just to get everything set up behind the scenes. But thank you both very much there for giving us a full tour of campus, and I'll see you both again soon.
Thank you.
Okay, hello, welcome back. Thank you for sticking around and joining us. So I'm now joined by 4 of our lovely current students, which I'll get them to introduce themselves in just a moment. But first of all, again, as I said, you can visit the virtual tour today at virtualtour.keele.ac.uk, and you can have a look around there. You've also got UniBuddy, where you can chat to a variety of students and staff at Keele. So you can put in what course you study, where you're from, and what level of study you're interested in, and UniBuddy will try and match you up as best we can with a member of staff or student at the university. So yeah, check out those 2 things. But first of all, let's go from top left. So Michelle, do you want to introduce yourself? Tell us what you study at Keele.
Yeah, hi guys, my name's Michelle. Hi guys, my name's Michelle, and I've just studied medicine. So I've just finished the medicine of.
Okay, perfect. And then Mustafa, do you want to introduce yourself next?
Hey guys, I'm Mustafa. I like Michelle, just finished first and second year, and I also study medicine.
Perfect. Angel?
Hi, I'm Angel, and I do biochemistry and neuroscience, and I've just finished second year as well.
And finally, Kyle?
Hi, I'm Kyle. I've just finished second year criminology, going on to third year next year.
Amazing. So yeah, so if you've got a question for either of them, it can be for anyone, it can be for everyone, or a specific person. If you know that you're studying the same course as them, pop it in the chat and I'll ask it as we go along. But first of all, so let's start with you, Michelle. Why did you choose your subject?
I'm quite boring, really. I always knew that I wanted to be a doctor from like as soon as anyone told me. Anyone asked me when I was a kid, what do you want to do? I always said, I want to be a doctor. I honestly don't know where it came from. I think I just came out of the womb wanting to do it. So then after that, it was just about finding the best course for me. And also I'm really close to my family, so I wanted to be quite close to home. And Keele was just lovely because it seems like a home away from home, and that was quite important to me as well. So, and Keele has an amazing medical course as well. I honestly wouldn't go anywhere else. So it's just perfect.
I think we'll stick with the medical thing. Mustafa, do you want to add anything to that? Because I know you're doing the same course.
No, I think she summarized it really, really well. I would just say, if you guys have any questions at all, Tom mentioned Unibody earlier. I know Unibody sounds kind of boring, but all the big dogs are on Unibody. Like Gordon Dent, the head of admissions, is there. Like Peter Coventry, he's head of the undergraduate medicine program. So if you have any questions about like any of the courses, all of the like higher level admission stuff are in there. So just ask them anything.
Amazing. Kyle, why did you choose your course?
To be honest, when I left school, I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I did public services at college, and mostly we did criminology in that. So then I was like, okay, I'll expand onto criminology to then join the police afterward.
Amazing.
And Keele was the best looking uni I could see, so I just went straight to there.
And then finally, Angel, same question to you.
Mine's really funny. I chose biochemistry because I watched a movie, and there was this biochemist.
Which movie? Which movie? You got to tell us which movie.
It's actually a series. Do you know The Flash?
No.
Yeah. All the biochemistry in there just got me really excited. I was, oh my god, I really want to do biochemistry. But then I watched a TED talk about neuroscience, and it was so interesting. Like the way he spoke about the brain and all the things the brain could do, all the potential. I was just like, wow, I want to do neuroscience. And that was a really good thing about Keele, because I was struggling to decide between the two. But then Keele said, oh, you could do both. And I was like, well, okay.
So just as I changed the light in my face light, which you can see it's just gone off, it's kind of Angel just touched on it there, why she chose Keele, but why Keele in particular for you? What was your journey to choosing Keele?
Oh man, Keele's a great university. There's so many different reasons why I chose Keele. I think one of the big things that was really great was that the Keele's campus is amazing. There's like 600 acres of green space. There's like 2 forests and loads of fields of green space that you can just explore whenever. And I did my previous degree at St. George's University of London, doing biomedical science, and there the university was about like the whole university was half the space of like Keele's library. And so coming to Keele was huge. It was a huge difference in terms of just like the location and what was available. Also, the medicine program is really, really nice. I'm sure Michelle will agree with this, but the medical program at Keele was like super nice because everyone is so friendly. Like literally everybody's so friendly. So Gordon Dent was like, I was talking to Gordon Dent, the head of admissions, and he was my PBL tutor. And like everyone's just so friendly. You can just talk to them on a one-to-one basis and just crack some jokes with them. So that was really good because I think Keele gives you a lot of personal support as well compared to a lot of other universities, which kind of treat you like a number. So I really like that as well. And thirdly, Keele does really well in terms of league tables because they really care about student satisfaction. So I think we're second in England for medicine. We're above Cambridge. And on top of that, Keele, what was it? Yeah, Keele has like really, really high student satisfaction, and they produce really, really good doctors. They have like some of the highest and most well-prepared F1s that like in the entire country.
You are just a walking advert for Keele. You are, Mustafa. I have to say.
I mean, honestly, it's because like I've had like the questionable uni experience at some other universities, and like coming to Keele is just a completely different world. It's really fun. I like it a lot. Everyone's so nice.
And again, Michelle, same course. Anything to add to that in terms of why you picked Keele for your studies?
Yeah, I think Mustafa touched on a lot of it, but I just wanted to say that for me, I like how it's campus. So for me, I kind of treat it, like Monday to Friday, get all my work done. And then if I go home on the weekend, then I know that I can fully chill. Or it's the same, like, honestly, when I came to Keele, I thought, what is there really to do here? But over the last couple of years, I found that there's actually so many amazing things to do around the areas. Like, whether it is just going for walks in the forest, like Mustafa said, there's so much green space. You can just get lost there, and it's just so relaxing, just going for walks, seeing the lakes, all that stuff. Or I recently went to the Monkey Forest as well, which is literally about a 20-minute drive. There's obviously Alton Towers. Like, the student union usually organises trips as well if you've got no one to go with or anything. That's not a problem. So there's actually don't kind of think, oh, it's a campus uni all by itself, there's nothing to do there, because that's kind of what I thought, and that's just totally untrue.
So are any of you local to the area, or are you all from different areas? No, all never kind of. Have any of you been to this area before? No.
No, I'd only been to Alton Towers, and that was it.
Alton Towers.
I'm an international student, so I hadn't really been anywhere, to be fair.
So I guess, Angel, interesting question then. As an international student, how did you find out about Keele and what it had to offer? What was your process of kind of choosing Keele through that method?
Okay, I went online, and I was obviously looking at universities. And first of all, the approach they had back to me, because I was emailing people and asking questions about the university, and I just found that everyone was really nice about it. Like the responses to my emails, how quickly I got responses, how they just treated me like I was already a student, and it just felt really nice. And I also liked the campus because, I don't know, I just really liked the greenery. And even from the minute I decided to come to Keele, I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to feel like a home away from home. Sorry to steal your word, Michelle, but
okay.
That's what I thought. And then they proved me absolutely right, because being at Keele just felt right. It just felt like home. I never actually got homesick, I don't think.
And Kyle, what was your process in sort of finding more about Keele, and what advice would you give to someone who's looking to go to university? What things would you look out for, and how would you find those things?
To be honest, it's just Keele. I never heard of it at first, and I just came across it because originally I was going to go somewhere closer, like Sheffield, because I'm closer there. But I was looking through them all, and then Keele just blew my mind. Like, it's completely different to all the other unis. You can't compare it to anything, and you have to see it to believe it. But once you're there, it's just wonderful. There's so much to do, and that's really why I chose it. To be honest, there's not much to it. Why I chose it.
I guess that's the disappointing thing about coronavirus, isn't it? As you say, you kind of have to see it to believe just how amazing the campus is. You know, full disclosure, I didn't study at Keele, but I now work here, and it is by far leagues above where I studied. I won't tell anyone where I studied, just so I'm not dissing them on stream. But in terms of its campus is like nothing I've ever seen before in terms of the greenery and the surrounding area and that community feel that it's got. It's definitely that, like you say, Carl, you kind of have to see it to believe it. So yeah, those who are joining us in September and haven't had a chance to visit, you're in for a great experience. I got a question from Leonie on Facebook here. She says, did you find keeping up with the work and revision weekly difficult, and were you still able to find time to do societies? Mustafa, I'll pop that one over to you.
Sure. So I'm sure Michelle will have some great answers to this. But I will say that the med school expects you to do about 40 hours of work per week. 40 hours is split between 20 hours of contact and 20 hours of self-study. So they really put that 20 hours on you to make sure you keep up with the work. In terms of keeping up with that, I think it's really, really easy to keep up with it because every single week is very condensed. So on the Monday, if you come in the first year, you'll open your PBL case, and then everything in that week will focus on that PBL case and cover any sort of questions that you had and you weren't able to answer when you opened the PBL. And then on the Friday, you'll close the PBL case, come back together as a group and be able to answer everything. So they really condensed it, and you can work on week by week by week, just looking back on your revision notes and things like that. It's very easy to manage like your free time because of that. The med school gives you a lot of responsibility in doing that. And there are people on the course who have second jobs, third jobs. So I work as, I personally work as like a student ambassador, but I also work as a HCA. And I've recently done an internship as part of Keele University. And there's like professional footballers on the course, there's pharmacists and things like that. So there is really a lot of responsibility on you to manage your time. And if you're able to manage that 40 hours of work per week well, then you'll have your evenings and weekends free on top of that. So it's definitely possible. I'm not, full disclosure, I'm not saying in third to fifth year you'll be able to do that, but in first and second year it's definitely a plus.
So medicine can be quite full on compared to other courses. So Angel, do you want to give us a point of view from neuroscience and biochemistry in terms of keeping up with the work and revision, but also having time to do those things on the side? How did you find it?
I found it, over the years it got more challenging, but I still think it's very much possible, because in my second year, whilst having all the work I had to do and obviously prioritizing it because you have to do that, I was president of the Afro Dance Society. I was I was events manager for gospel choir. I was voice rep for both biochemistry and neuroscience. I was treasurer for Sign Language Society. It was a lot, but then I'm just trying to say that it is doable. Like, you can do other things as well as like study and revise. There's a decent amount of lectures per week, which I think you don't get overwhelmed by that, because the way it's spread out, and then it's just perfect for me anyway. Like, I just felt like there was time to do everything, and then there's also time in the day as well, because you could have a lecture in the morning and then have some free periods and then have another lecture, or not even have another lecture. So you have time to actually go over what you've learned that day before you have to do the society stuff in the evenings, and then you always have your weekends as well.
Amazing. So a couple more comments. So Anna's said, I can't wait to start in September. Welcome to Keele, Anna. Then we've also got, someone's asked, Abby's asked, is campus open and can we drive up and have a look during August? I'm going to say, yeah, the buildings on campus are currently closed and won't reopen until September for the specific teaching that's happening in there. But the grounds are open and have remained open. So if it's safe to do so and you can travel up, you're welcome to pop up and have a walk around the campus and explore the exterior of it for yourself anyway. So I guess this is for, so kind of by raise of hands, who has lived on campus? I'm guessing all of you, apart from, yeah, all of you. So all of you have lived on campus. So let's go around. So Michelle, where did you live on campus?
So I lived in Horwood in first year and Old Barn second year, but I'm a resident advisor as well. So if anyone has any more questions about like the support that's offered when you are living on campus, I work for the accommodation team and I'm on call 1 day a week. So there's always someone on call to, if you get homesick or if you have a noise complaint, then you just call us up and we try to deal with it as best as possible. So we really want to make sure that you have the best time living on campus. But, yeah.
And Mustafa, where did you live on campus?
So in my first year, I lived in the oldest and the cheapest accommodation on campus, and I had a great time. So I lived in Barnes, Old Barnes, where Michelle currently works. Worked, I don't know. So it was great. I shared my block with 26 different people, and I made loads of friends. Had a really, really good time. Just co-mingling and having fun.
Angel, which one were you in?
I lived in Lindsay my first year, and then I lived in New Barnes for the rest of it.
Amazing.
I think there's a difference in the amount of people you live with, because I lived in Lindsay Old Block, so not Lindsay Court, like the actual older ones, and I thought it was a lot better in terms of like meeting people, because there was a lot more people living in that accommodation, and you know, a lot more people to interact with after the day. So I made a lot of good friends, and it wasn't my first year, so I think that was a really useful place to live. But then in Barnes, there is still a lot of people, but we're separated in flats of like 6 to 8, so you don't really see that much people on the regular unless you try to. But...
And Carl, where did you live on campus?
First year I lived in Horwood H. It was literally right next to the woods, and it's like a 2-minute walk to the middle campus, and it was like 3 floors of 11 people. Like bottom floor lads, the other 2 lasses, and we all got along. Like everyone could just meet each other for like say if you would go drinking in Prees.
Amazing. So I think we've got Barnes, Lindsay. Any of you live in Holy Cross? Did you say? No. So only Holy Cross we haven't got covered. But if you do want to look at Holy Cross, we've just done a tour of that, which you can rewind back and have a watch of. So the question is around sort of tips for moving away from home. I'm guessing it's a nerve-wracking time. You're all traditional students. So did you all move away when you were 18? Was it? Yeah. No. Angel saying no. Not traditional student. But anyway, you're all. It's a nerve-wracking time. What advice would you have for those moving away from home? Michelle, do you want to start by giving us your top tips for moving into on-campus accommodation?
Yeah, for me, the biggest thing for me was to make my room as comfortable as possible and as homely as possible. So, you can kind of see behind me, I really like pictures, fairy lights, stuff like that, because I knew that, I like to study in my room, and obviously, you have to kind of fit your whole home into this one room. So for me, I just think it's really important to bring things that remind you of your home into your new home, so that it makes that transition a bit easier.
And Kyle, any top tips from you from moving away from home into uni accommodation?
I personally didn't have any. I didn't really get homesick. I was personally pretty alright with straight away, so I can't really offer anything.
What would you recommend in terms of the social side of it and meeting people? Is it to just be open and dive yourself in?
Yeah, just get to know people straight away. I personally, once I got there, I just knocked on people's doors and introduced myself, and got to know them as soon as possible.
And Angel, you have that added extra of being an international student as well as and moving away from home. You know, that you can't just put all your stuff in a car and drive up to university. So how is it for you? What tips would you have for international students?
Oof, okay, there's a lot. So
Go, fire away.
The first one is to breathe, because you do forget to do that sometimes. Take a deep breath and know that it is possible. And then it's a lot easier than you think it's going to be. It's really useful to take things from home, like Michelle said, to keep your room like as homely as possible so you don't get that homesick. And then don't be afraid to say hi first. Like, look at people living around you and go say hi, because most likely they're nervous as well. And they're not going to push you away or turn you away. They're probably eager to find friends as well. I'm going to say it's really useful to learn how to cook, because you don't want to waste all your money. Like, you don't want to waste your money buying food every day, because as international students, we can work, but on the Tier 4 visa, we've got limited hours to work per week. So you can't make as much money as someone else who's not on a visa that can work. So you want to save your money. And so learn how to cook, please. Learn how to like prioritize belongings, because the rooms I'm not going to say they're too small, but then they're not your house from home, from your country. So you can't take everything. You need to like prioritize the things you're taking. Otherwise, you're going to end up living in a shoebox, because all your things are going to take all this. That was my mistake in first year. I think I took my whole house with me. There wasn't even any room to like walk around and like sleep. Like, I just had my bed to myself, because I put everything, like my baby teeth, and I'm kidding. But I did take some ridiculous stuff. So try to like not do that. Take just the things you need, because most of the times you realize that the things you think you need, you don't even need them anyway.
Amazing. So you mentioned cooking there and learn to cook. I'm going to go around. Tell me your favourite thing to cook as a student. So Mustafa, we'll start with you. Your recipe inspirations for students starting in September.
Okay, so I'm going to be honest. I love cereal. I'm pretty sure there's been multiple days.
You can't cook cereal.
I mean, questionable, Thomas. Questionable. I think you can. Yeah, there've been multiple days where I've had just cereal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I mean, it's not everybody's thing, but I liked it. Michelle's like, what? Okay.
You're a medical student.
Yeah, but you need to learn how to like enjoy the things you enjoy, and I like cereal, man. But honestly, I like cooking home food. So like rice and things like that. My parents cuss me out because I can't cook it properly, but I think I can cook it properly. So, I enjoy it. They're not eating it. It's okay.
What would one of those dishes be? What one of the recommended dishes?
So like there's loads of like complicated rice dishes. If you're like an Afghan, I'm sure you know them. But I think my favorite is just is something called kabuli, which is like it's like rice with carrots and raisins. And some meat. It's really good. It's simple food, but it's good.
And Kyle, your go-to cooking dish, your pièce de résistance in the kitchen?
Probably it's the chicken curry, really. It's pretty simple. Always nice.
Is that making the sauce, or is that buying the sauce?
Buying the sauce.
Buying the sauce. Definitely. Michelle, your go-to dish in the kitchen?
I cook egg fried rice all the time. I think it's just so easy to just cook like a pot of rice and then just add like veggies to it and stuff. So that's what I do. But also just apart from what Mustafa says, I think cooking in the kitchen is a great time to like socialise with other people. So if you like, because obviously a lot of people eat at around about the same time, so there probably will be someone else with you. And that's when I talk to a lot of people, especially in first year and second year actually, was in the kitchen. So yeah, it's a great time to socialise.
And Angel, do you ever sort of cook for everyone in your block? Do you ever share food?
Actually, all the time. My flatmates loved me last year.
Well, you head chef, were you?
I come from a really big family. I've got 6 siblings, so I'm really used to just making enough for everyone. So I'd make too much and be like, oh, I need people to eat this, otherwise it's gonna go off.
Which accommodation are you in next year?
Barnes as well, New Barnes.
Barnes. Whoever's with you is some lucky roommates, I have to say. So we've got a question here on Facebook. So what are some of your most fun / best memories of Keele? Carl, we'll start with you.
I used to go with some people I lived with for like midnight to like 2 a.m. walks in the woods. So after like we'd been studying in the library, we'd just go for a nice walk together all throughout the woods and then just back again. And I think I just really loved that.
Amazing. Michelle, some of your fun / best memories of Keele?
Yeah, I have so many. So I went to Alton Towers on Halloween, like the actual Halloween date, in first year with like the Students' Union. That was amazing. Also, like I don't know how safe this is, but I really like to walk to KFC. So like this shows how much of a campus uni, or like the closest KFC to walk to is actually the service station. So honestly, it's the best walk to walk all the way like to the service station, down these like country roads and whatever. It's honestly so fun.
No, I have looked just on that. I have looked. Did you go through the woods behind the back of Keele Hall, or is there an actual path to it?
It's 3 Mile Lane.
Yeah. I walked to like past like Holly Cross and the Oaks, and then I just keep going, and it's just like a straight like country road, and it's great.
So as a carry on, so you saying any more memories of Keele? Favourite things?
Yeah, and then just also, me and my friend, like if we had a bad day, we'd drive into Hanley and go get ice cream at one of the dessert parlours. Like there's quite a few to choose from, and that was a great way to de-stress as well.
There are some amazing dessert places in Hanley with some stuff that will make you feel sick just looking at it, and you need to lie down. Mustafa, some of your favourite / best memories of Keele?
So my ones have been stolen, unfortunately. Carl and Michelle both took them. I will say that stargazing is really nice. Keele's, because it's such a big campus, there's not really that much nighttime light. So if you go down the road to KFC, 3 Mile Lane, it's very, very dark. But you can see all the stars, and it's really, really pretty. Another good memory I had was we just had a barbecue. We just took a barbecue into the woods, and I mean, it sounds pretty basic, but it was really fun. We took like this disposable barbecues, and we just found a really nice spot in the woods, and just had a good time.
And finally, Angel, your memories?
I've got 2, so bear with me.
Okay.
My first one was in my first year at Keele, and everyone, I think it was one of my first lectures, definitely my first lecture with this lecturer, and everyone was really nervous, and then he said, oh, this lecture, I'm just going to do some recap with you. This is biochemistry. I'm going to recap with you some things about biochemistry. Then he clicked a button, and all of a sudden, this really loud music started playing, and it's like hydrogen bonds. It's like van der Waals forces, and he's just like dancing to it, and everyone just started laughing. It was so funny. It was like the best first lecture to like, because I'm always going to remember it. He just started dancing, just like, hydrogen bond.
We need to find this video.
And the second one should actually be a lesson to everyone, actually. So pay attention. I cooked a lot, and then I had my flatmates and some friends over in my kitchen, and we were eating and playing loud music and having fun. And it was one of the best nights. But then we got a noise complaint. So don't do that.
Be respectful, yeah.
Yeah, be respectful. So make sure you're respectful every time, otherwise you get a noise complaint.
Your first memory leads us quite nicely onto our next question that we've had on Facebook, which is, was it hard to keep up with the pace of lectures and keeping up with the workload? Let's start with Mustafa. Let's start with you on that one.
I'm going to say, I don't know, it's a difficult question to answer because it really depends on the sort of person you are. If you're really organized and you go to all your lectures, then you'll be okay, because that's all you really need to do, as well as just at the end of the week, just covering and doing a recap, because the way the medicine course is structured is it forces you to do that every single week because of PBL. So you have to do a recap. So I think the course really helps you a lot. And I would say personally, because of the way it's structured, it's not that hard to keep on top of things. It does get stressful around exam season, because there's just the volume of work that you have covered across the entire year is massive. So you really have to use those weeks and to revise, to bring them together, and to make everything much more structured for your revision time. As long as you follow the course structure which has been laid out for you, you'll be okay. If you don't, then good luck, man. Legit, good luck. It's gonna be incredibly hard. We have so many lectures and so much contact time that if you don't turn up to anything, it's gonna have a terrible time.
And then Kyle, how as a criminology student, how do you kind of keep on top of your studies at Keele?
Well, kind of like how Mustafa said, if you don't keep up on it, it will catch up with you, and then you're pretty much buggered. But there's not much. It won't be as hard as this course. It's a lot more calm. Even if you don't attend the lectures, you can always just recap and watch them online, and you'll catch up most of it. And then there's always group chats for your course. You can talk to people who may have missed it or may have gone and can catch you up on it. So it goes pretty simple for my part, I'd say, as long as you caught up with it.
And Angel, what about you? Any top tips that you sort of have to make sure that you're on top of your studies and getting all your work done in time?
I made a timetable because
nice.
I have this really bad thing of procrastinating sometimes. So if I make a timetable and I tell myself you have to stick to it, it actually helps. And it's really useful to go over a lecture as soon as you can, as soon as possible, because then it sticks more. And then when you're revising, you're actually revising and not just learning for the first time. So if you had a lecture, because there's not going to be too many lectures in a day anyway. So at the end of the day, you can decide to just spend a couple hours just going through what you've had in lectures that day. Or another way that I did it sometimes was I'd spend Saturday going over some of the lectures over the week, and I found that really useful.
So back to go on, Mustafa. Go on, what were you going to
say? I will just say that because of the nature of the course, some of the medicine lectures aren't recorded, so you have to turn up to them live. Just saying.
Perfect. So back to sort of living arrangements. I know people are quite conscious of where they live. So after obviously first year, most people stay in on-campus accommodation. Are you all in second year now, aren't you? All past second year? Is that right?
Yeah.
So what happened after that year? So after first year, what then happened? How did you then sort your accommodation for the next year? We'll start with you, Michelle.
Well, a lot of students do move away after first year, so they usually get a house in the city centre, or for medicine and for health sciences, sometimes close to the hospital for later years as well. But anyway, that's not what I did. So medicine is one of the few where you're actually given priority for second year as well to stay on campus. So if you are a medic student, and there are some other exceptions as well, but I'm not too sure about them, you can stay on campus for second year. So that's what I did, because I just really enjoyed living on campus. And even more than that, like I mentioned before, I became a resident advisor. So that means that in exchange for working for the student services team and making sure that everyone has a great time living on campus, I actually got my accommodation for free. And I'm doing that again this year. So it's literally a job. It is a job. And it does mean that you're on call all through the night for one night a week. So sometimes you don't get a lot of sleep. But I wouldn't change it for anything. Like we were talking before about work-life balance, and this for me, I really enjoy getting up from my studies for an hour and going around and talking to the students and seeing if they've got any problems. So definitely have a think if you'd like to do that as well.
And now, Mustafa, I know that differed for you because you actually did move off campus in your second year, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did. So I mean, I made a video for Keele University, and if you want to see my house, you can check that out. It's on the Keele University YouTube page, I think. So I moved off campus, and I moved exactly as Michelle said, closer to the hospital, because in second and third year you have more hospital placements, so it's just easier to get to the hospital. I got a house in between Keele and the hospital, so I was really lucky, and I can just walk to the hospital or Keele whenever we need to.
And so how did you go about finding your people to move in with them?
Oh yeah, so it was really easy because the people I lived with in first year, I was like, you guys are cool. Do you want to live together? And they were like, cool. And that was it. And then we went about the stress of trying to find a house. I think that's a really good way to find people to live with, because you've lived with them, and if you can handle them and then they don't drive you insane, then you know you'll be able to live with them again a year later. We did add one guy on, though, who we hung out with a lot, who didn't necessarily live with us. So we actually did have a mix of people who I didn't live with as well.
And so without naming names or going into too much detail, if you've got someone in your halls who you don't quite get on with, what's the best way to deal with that? Angel, anything from you on that?
Okay, so there are RAs like Michelle, so you could just ring up, and then there's an anonymous contact service where you can contact the campus security to come sort something out if anything does go down. But other than that, you have lectures, and if you do decide to go to your lectures, which I would advise, you have lectures most of the day anyway, so you're on campus. You're mostly just going to be in your accommodation at night or like weekends or during the day when you don't have lectures. But you could try to avoid the person or sort it out if you want to, but I'd probably just avoid the person as much as I can.
Amazing. And Angel, did you move off campus when you went into your second year?
I did not, which is actually something useful to know. International students also get priority when living on campus, so you don't necessarily have to move off. I mean, I guess no one really has to, but you don't, just know that you're going to be prioritized so you can live on campus for the duration of your course.
And also as well for home students as well, that applies in your final year, doesn't it? So your final year of study, you also get priority to move back onto campus, just so that things are on your doorstep in terms of the library and things like that. So Kyle, did you move off campus?
I did, yeah. I kind of left mine quite late though, so I was lucky to get the house I did. But people usually apply for houses off like January, February, and then they have in the SU loads of housing companies come in, and then you can talk to them about which house you'd like, and they can land and they offer you tours.
So now that you live off campus, how do you get to campus? What's the transport situation in terms of getting from your house to campus?
It was like a 10-minute walk to the centre, and then a bus just from the bus station, which is like a 10-minute bus ride again.
And Mustafa, I know that slightly differs for you because you're a lucky person who lives with someone with a car.
I'm so lucky. Recently, this summer, one of my housemates bought a second car, so now there's 3 cars in our house.
Wow.
Yeah. For some reason, I don't know why I did that. But yeah, so very luckily, out of the blue, the people I chose to live with, they had cars, so I just get driven into campus. I'm sorry to anybody who doesn't. I guess I have that luxury. Unfortunately, though, that means that if my timetable doesn't match up with theirs, I occasionally have to walk in up the massive hill.
The big Keele hill, yeah, it is a killer.
Ginormous hill.
But you can cycle in as well. Again, and when you get to the hill, probably just hop off and push the bike up is probably the best.
There are some mad lads in medicine who actually cycle all the way up.
Electric bike, I'm saying. It's an electric bike.
No.
It's not possible.
There are some absolute mad lads who cycle all the way up. Like people in my PBL cycle all the way up. It's crazy. I don't know how.
So we've had we've had some more people asking if they can visit campus. The answer is yes, you can visit campus if it's safe to do so. You can park up and have a walk around. The buildings aren't open at the moment, and they won't open until September when studies start. And again, it's likely in September that they'll be managed as well in terms of who has access to them in places. But yeah, feel free to travel up and have a wander around Keele Hall and the lakes and have a look at the exterior sports facilities and things like that. Whenever it's convenient for you to do so, and if it's safe, you're welcome to do that. So another question here is, are you part of any societies? And if so, which ones? And what do they do? Clubs or societies? Michelle, let's start with you on that one.
I'm probably not the person to talk about this. I'm not really. I did, I've tried a couple here and there, but especially last year I got into just a really nice routine with my RA job and socialising with friends from first year, and then obviously keeping up with my course, so that was enough for me.
What did you try then out of interest?
What have I tried? Well, I'm not a very sportsy person, but they do offer like free badminton sessions, and basically I went to all the free stuff, I'm not gonna lie. So like societies are such a great chance to like try something new, and I have friends who like did lacrosse and all this like cheerleading, loads of friends do cheerleading, all this mad stuff that you usually don't really get the chance to try in secondary school, so it's amazing. I also went to the Christian Union quite a lot in first year until I found a church of my own in second year. So again, I think for me, societies have been a way to like try new things and meet new people before, like especially in first year, until I found like my like best friends and I got into a great routine in second year.
I guess that's the thing, though, isn't it? Is to just try everything as much as you can, and then if you don't like it, you don't have to carry it on. By raise of hands, who is out of the last three of you, who's part of a club or society? What's for an Angel? Angel, we'll start with you. Do you want to tell us about what you're part of?
Okay, I'm gonna be very excited about this one because I actually started this society. So I started, and I was the president of the Keele Afro Dance Society because I'm Nigerian, I'm African. So I was like, oh, let me start something like that on campus because there's a lot of dance. There's ballet, hip hop, I think salsa as well. But then there wasn't Afro dancing, which was my specialty. I've been dancing since I was little, so I was like, oh my god, I need to start something like this. So I started that one. That's something cool about Keele as well because you can just start your society. It's not a difficult process. And then I restarted because it was there a couple of years ago, and then people just stopped running it. But then we started it again, me and a couple of friends, the British Sign Language Society, where I was the treasurer, which was really fun and interesting because we had to teach some things that we'd learned from our teacher. And then it was just really fun having to go home and then do some more research and learn more about sign language. And I'm really excited now every time someone asks and I'm like, okay, my name is, and then I sign it. And I also did a gospel choir. I was the events manager for gospel choir. I love singing as well. And I've always sung. So I thought, why not do this? And it was really amazing. The girls in the gospel choir, like sisters, ended up being like big sisters.
I love gospel choir. I filmed with them a couple of times, and it was when they went to the competition show.
Yeah, Songs of Praise. We were on TV. That was so cool. Everyone was super nervous, and my mom was like, "Oh my god, how do I watch it?" But then it was on BBC, and BBC doesn't show back home. But
VPN.
It was really exciting.
Mustafa, do you want to tell us a bit about what you're part of?
So, ironically, I came to Keele saying, you know what, I'm not going to participate in any societies. I'm just going to focus on medicine. And then they had a really good society that I was really interested in, which was Keele Esports. And that's the Electronic Sports Society, which is basically just playing video games. And they have a gaming lab, which is just a room filled with gaming computers, which the university paid for some reason. And you can just go in there if you're a member of the society anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and have access to these game computers which have pre-installed games on them and play games, which is really cool. So I joined that. And then, I also just picked up some jobs so I can pay my way through university. And then Keele SU opened up a position as a trustee, and I applied for that and I got it. So I'm a trustee for Keele SU as well.
I mean, so you've all kind of got involved with a variety of things outside your studies. It sounds like you've got plenty of time to get involved with different things at university as well. So it's not like you're just doing your course solely. That's amazing. Someone's asked, is there a dance studio that you can use in your free time? Does anyone know of any studio spaces, or would it just be a room in... Oh, go on, Angel. Thumbs up there.
There's actually a dance studio in the sports center that you can use, and it's actually like it's mirrors, massive speakers, and like perfect floor for dancing as well. But then I'm pretty sure you have to pay to use that per hour. But then if you're part of a society, sometimes they have rehearsals in there. I know cheerleading does, and karate have practice in there where they use it. So if you join the society, I guess you can. Or with timetable, you can book a room. You don't actually have to use a dance studio. You can book a room with a good reason on campus with timetabling, and you could just go in and use it as you please. I mean, obviously with respect for the university. But
I do know that the dance society uses Keele SU's rooms very often. So they practice for their shows in Keele SU. The Keele SU has like a ballroom, which is just a massive open space, and loads of societies use that. And I think the floor is really good for dancing as well.
It is, yeah.
So question from Jack here, quite a long question. So do you all manage to keep up with the workload outside of your lectures? I know that it will catch up to you, but I'm just interested. Do you all believe that the amount of work is adequate to your studies and it's not too stressful due to having too much, or too easy if you have too little of it? So quite a big question there. Let's come to you, Kyle. How do you feel about your workload at Keele?
Well, it all depends on the person, I believe. But I think it's the right amount. It just all depends how much you want how much time you want to put into it. Because obviously, the more time you put into it, the easier it is, and the higher grade you're going to get. and vice versa if you don't put a lot of work in. So it all just depends how determined you are and how much effort you want to put into it.
I guess that is interesting, isn't it? And is this the difference between, you know, GCSE and A levels compared to university? Is it all about how much effort you put into it? You've not got that teacher kind of pushing you as hard as you would have maybe at GCSE. It is you're kind of left to your own devices more, would you say? How do you feel about that, Michelle?
Yeah, so I agree. So yeah, I think especially second year, I found out that it was really important to not just use my lectures. So as much as it is important to keep up with your lectures and stuff, sometimes they'd hint at things and then I'd be interested in them and then I'd research them more, and then that's when I started seeing the difference in my grades, to be honest. So that was a big breakthrough to me, and I think that people should really take that on from first year and just research what you're interested in, and it will always pay off in your grades. And another thing I wanted to say was that there's kind of different ways of doing it, because in first year I spread out my work kind of evenly, like every day I do a little bit. But in second year, what I actually found worked better for me was to just do lots and lots of work at the beginning of the week. So like Monday to Wednesday, get it all done. Because on the medicine course, you basically have a deadline. You need to know everything about this topic by the Monday or by the Friday, depending on how your timetable is. So I knew that if I could get it all done by like a couple of days before, then I'd have like a couple of days to rest too. You know, that's when I'd do my shift. That's when I'd meet up with friends and stuff like that. And also another thing is that uni life is very different to like secondary school. So secondary school is so structured, you know, you wake up at the same time every day, you go to school between the same times, you come home, you have dinner at the same time. Whereas uni life, you can really tailor to yourself. So obviously go to your lectures and your tutorials and stuff, but then outside of that, you can cook dinner a bit later if you want to get a few hours of studying in, or you can cook dinner really early and then study after that, and you can stay up a bit later if you can wake up a bit later the next day. So that's important to remember as well, that you've got that flexibility.
And Angel, same thing for you. How do you find that sort of workload?
I think it is really important to realize that it is university and not secondary school, so that like it's not going to be easy. It's never easy, but then it is very much doable. Like Kyle said, it just depends on the person and depends on the amount of effort you're willing to put in. But it is very much doable. Like so obviously do go to your lectures, but even if you didn't, like you had something to do and you missed a lecture, you could catch up with the online lectures on the playback. And sometimes if there's no playback, there's a module handbook, and then these most of the time tell you what you're meant to learn during the semester, what your lectures are on. So you could always and then they have recommended textbooks. So you could always just check the textbook for what was meant to be learned in that lecture and just study those few pages, and then you'd be all caught up. That's what I did.
Anything to add to that, Mustafa?
No, I think all of them answered it really, really well. I would say that as much as people say that university is a big step up, it's a huge step up, and nobody will be able to convey that to you until you arrive. So just be prepared for that.
Yeah, it's very different, isn't it? And if you've just come from A levels, it's a completely new world and a new way of almost new way of learning, isn't it? And it's about you kind of motivating yourself a lot of the time to put that extra bit of effort in, and that's where you'll start to succeed. Another question is, I've heard there are icebreaker activities. Have you got any icebreaker memories? Angel's nodding. Should we go to you, Angel?
Sure. There was a karaoke night on one of my first nights at the university, which was really funny because some people had alcohol, some didn't, but everyone was confident in the singing abilities, and it was just hilarious to watch and partake in. But I usually just whisper to the microphone and not actually sing. But
you're part of gospel, aren't you? This is your time to shine.
I'm really nervous. I need my girls with me. But then there's also trivia nights, games nights. It's really fun, really funny. Even if you don't want to like partake, if you just sit there and watch, there's so many things that's going to make you laugh, I guarantee.
Anyone else been to any icebreaker activities?
Yeah, I went to a Disney quiz night in my first year, and it's definitely one of the highlights. I should have mentioned it before. I love Disney so much. I have like little like mini ears. I love going to Disneyland and stuff like that. So I took my mini ears with me to uni. Obviously, that was a necessity, and I actually got to whip them out and like wear them to my Disney quiz. So yeah, that was one of the highlights. There's lots of quizzes, there's lots of non-alcohol nights, so don't worry about like not fitting in. The uni definitely makes it a priority to make sure that everyone feels like there's something for them. So there'll definitely be something for you.
Okay, Michelle, I'm gonna put a Disney question to you now. I'm gonna put you on the spot. Entangled. What is the name of the city?
Corona.
Boom. Yes. Topical. Anyone else go to any icebreaker activities? No.
I think it's a really good icebreaker activity is the one I had with my PBL. So as a medic, you have a problem-based learning group, and you're in a small group, and you're with them for the entire year. And we did loads of icebreaker sessions with them, just to get to know everybody, because you're going to be with them for the vast majority of the time on your course. And we had like birthdays together and things like that, which was really cool.
Now, I've got a great question from, let me just find out who's from. Great question from Holly here. Do you have any tips for someone who heavily procrastinates? Hands up if we've got any procrastinators in the room. Kyle, we'll go with you. Do you want to give us your top tips to stop procrastinating?
I'll go again to the woods. The woods is just so great. You can just go for a walk there, think about it again and again and again, and being there will just help you get out of your head. That's really it.
So you're saying take a break, go and clear your head, and come back.
Yeah, definitely.
Angel, top tips to help us stop procrastinating?
I'm going to be honest, I'm still working through my problem, but I will tell you that a good one to know is if you tell yourself, if I get it done now, I could procrastinate after without the guilt, because then it's not procrastination anymore, but then you're still doing what you want to do. And then just tell yourself, just do it, just get it out the way, even if you don't want to. And then I'm going to throw the question back to anyone out there who has an actual solution, because I do need it.
Mustafa, any help?
Oh, I'm a glorious procrastinator. So for my dissertation, I finished my actual dissertation.
Wow, well done.
12 hours before the deadline. 12 hours before the deadline. I literally handing it in. I saw my dissertation supervisor, who hadn't seen my dissertation at all, on the way to hand it in, and I saw him in the lift lobby. And I was like, yo, do you want to have a look at this? And he was like, okay. And then he looked through it and he was like, why didn't you add this? Why didn't you add this? And I was like, I don't know. And then by that time, it was too late to change anything. So I'm a glorious procrastinator. But one way I figured out to fix that is by telling myself, do you want to fail now? Or would you rather fail in the exam? And I'm like, okay, let's just fail now. That's just one way I figured it out.
Michelle, any better tips than Mustafa just gave us?
Nice.
I think try and notice what your problem is. So some people get distracted talking to friends, some people get distracted on their phone. So my phone is a big problem for me. I will just pick it up and start scrolling. So I turn off my phone and I put it literally on the other side of the room because I'm lazy, so I won't get up and go and find it. So and similarly, there was a time just before my exam when I was addicted to Facebook. And the videos, the algorithm just knew me so well, it knew exactly which videos I'd click on. So I had to delete Facebook, and then it got me through. I was like, okay, every hour I revise, it means I'm closer to my exam. It means I can re-download Facebook. And then, you know what, when I'd finished my exam, I didn't even want to go on Facebook anymore. It was just, you only want to do it because you're procrastinating and because it makes you feel that way. So, yeah.
Just on the phone thing, one app I figured out is really, really good is an app called Forest. I think you have to pay 99p for it, but it's totally worth it. And what you do is you basically grow trees on this little forest. And I like forests, so I just grow these trees. And then I add friends who are also in the medicine course or on other courses. And then I compete with them to see who's grown the best forest. And it just hits my internal competitive drive to try and build the best forest. And that way I study more too.
That helps you study more?
Yeah, because it locks your phone. Okay. Forest is it sends you a message saying if you leave the app for more than 10 seconds, your tree will die. And it's whoa, go back to the app. So,
okay.
I really like it.
I'm gonna stick with Michelle's tips. No offense, Mr.
Yeah, sure. It's no problem.
So we've got one final question, and it's kind of one that you may have thought about and you may not have thought about. But it is what would you like to do after university? And how do you think that your degree will support you in achieving that? Let's start with you, Angel.
Okay. I'm actually hoping to go into medicine next year, hopefully, by God's grace. So I am taking in prayers. If anyone wants to pray for me, I'll accept. So yes, I'm thinking about going into medicine, but my plan B would be to do a master's.
Amazing. So that's interesting because there are some people don't realise there are a variety of different routes into medicine, aren't there? You don't have to go straight from A level into medicine. I think Mustafa, are you the same that you actually did a degree before you then came on to medicine?
Yeah, exactly. A degree which I handed my dissertation into 12 hours. No, I'm joking. I made it, guys. I made it. It's possible. You can do this. Yeah, so there's loads of different ways. So I've always wanted to go into medicine, just like Michelle. And I applied when I was 16. And I got offers, but I missed my grades because I was stupid. And so I missed my grades, and they rejected me. So I did a degree. And then I applied back to medicine with my degree, and that's how I got in. But if you don't want to do a degree, there's lots of other ways. So there's like access courses. So Keele does an access course, which is just 1 year, and then you start on the normal 5-year foundation. And there's actual graduate courses too, which are shortened, so they're 4 years. So there's loads of different options that you can go into. And even if you don't get into a university in the UK, I have friends who are in universities all across Europe, so like Belgium and Holland and Poland, and that they study there, and all of the medicine degrees there are GMC recognized. So you can come back and you can qualify as a doctor in the UK too. So there's lots of different ways.
And we'll stick with you. So what would you like to do after university? And do you think your degree supported you in achieving this? Kind of probably an obvious question.
I'd like to become an ice cream salesman.
Amazing.
Oh, great. My degree's going to help me so much with that. Or the brain freeze. No. But yeah, I'd like to become a doctor. I'm hopefully looking to become an academic doctor. So there's a path as soon as you graduate called the Academic Foundation Program, where you do academia alongside actual clinical practice. So it's like the route into becoming a clinical lecturer at a university, as well as a doctor.
I think Michelle, same course. So we'll stick with you. What do you hope to go on to after Keele, and how do you think your degree helped you achieve that?
Yeah, well, I want to be a doctor. I'm not quite sure which type I want to be yet, but an amazing thing about Keele is that it's only been 2 years and I've already had so many different placements. And for me, placements kind of help me rule out things. So, I thought, oh, this might be interesting. And then I went to the actual place and I thought, no, I actually didn't like that because of this reason and stuff like that. So I'm just really excited to have another 3 years of finding out, what I actually enjoy and what I don't enjoy. So even though I'm not quite sure yet, I'm positive that by the end of the 5 years, I'll know what I'm passionate about and what I want to do.
Fantastic. And then finally, you, Kyle?
Well, I am wanting in the long run to join the police. I'm not exactly sure what in the police, but doing this course is definitely going to help me get there. And then also going to join in the Navy in between uni and the police.
Wow. So have you always wanted to do that then? It's always been a plan in your head if that's what you wanted to do, your degree, then the Navy and then the police?
Yeah, since school, yeah.
So how do you think the degree will help you then with what you go on to next?
It will definitely help me understand how they work, like the academic work-wise in that sense, because with college and school, I honestly would have no idea. It's definitely going to help me with workload as well because it's crazy.
Yeah, amazing. I think we'll finish off by just saying, so if you can describe Keele in just one word, and if someone nicks your word, you've got to pick a new word. So one word to describe your time at Keele. I'll give you a few moments to think about it, and whilst I do that, I will just say that thank you everyone for watching today's stream. It's been a pleasure showing you around our accommodation blocks, showing you the campus, and again, make use of all the facilities. Like Mustafa said, Unibuddy is a great tool where you can actually access some of the most senior people in our admissions team, but also just students who study and live and breathe Keele, and you can get you can ask your questions about life at Keele to them, and they will answer you as best they can. On there as well as staff, as well as that. So, and you may get matched up with a member of staff who actually ends up teaching you on your course. So, make use of Unibuddy as much as you can, and also head to virtualtour.keele.ac.uk, and you can explore campus in your own time. Have a look at some of the talks that are on there from our staff, members of staff at the university. They'll be live until next Sunday, so they'll be live for 7 days that you can go back and watch them at any time. But yeah, I hope to see you at Keele soon. So we'll start with Michelle. We'll just work our way around. So Michelle, one word to describe Keele.
Home.
Home. So no one can use home. Mustafa?
Big. Just big.
Big. Angel?
Limitless.
Limitless. And Kyle?
Well, I'm going to do 2. I'm just going to say breathtaking.
You can't. 2? You're having breath. That's what you're having. Amazing. Well, thank you all very much. Thank you for your time, guys. Thank you for joining me on stream. It's been an absolute pleasure. And again, are you all on Unibuddy, by the way? Can people end up chatting to you on Unibuddy?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So again, make use of Unibuddy if you've got any more questions. These guys are here to help. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.